6 days from Christmas. I'd like to call the Budget Committee to order at 6 o'clock and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Excuse me.
Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do a roll call. Samantha.
Samantha Kearns.
Olivia Welch-Erdahl.
Peter Grigorakakis. Mark Bernard.
Kelly Boyer, Select Board Rep.
Jared Talbot, School Board Rep.
Joe Alexander.
Frank Hobbs.
Doug Pounds.
Israel Carey.
Brian Mazer.
Elizabeth DeBrule. Laura Stevens. Allison DeCesare.
Richard Manzo.
Okay, we have Derek, Danielle here, a couple select board members. We have Brian Balke, department heads. So we are got a big crowd in here, ready to assist us if necessary. With that, I'd like to open up public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? Come on up.
Oh, okay. So, signage is up there.
Okay. Was there anybody signed up? I think just.
Yeah.
I know you just walked in. Take your time.
Always on the run.
That's okay. And just introduce yourself, your name, and what street you live on.
Okay, my name is Jessica Putin, and I live on West Neck Road.
Welcome.
Thanks. All right, sorry, I just ran it. I just want to start with a question. So I think a lot of the community is confused and a little frustrated, obviously. So me, just looking through, the annual report and listening to the meetings. And by the way, I come from a finance background. I'm in the trades, so I'm in construction, project management. So cost analysis and budget control is huge, especially when working on huge projects. And I think the town kind of runs like a business, or it should, because we have costs and revenue. So my first question, does a town use an ERP system? Like, how do you track your POs and your costs and what's coming in?
Danielle, can you answer that for us, or Derek? Thank you.
Hi, Derek Horn, I'm the town administrator. Yes, we do have an ERP system, and we track all our financials on there, as well as POs, and generate reports out of there.
Okay, and everyone, like all the departments use the same one?
Yes.
Okay,
For the town. School is completely separate from the town, yes.
okay. So school uses a different accounting system?
Yes.
So how do you track in real time our spend?
With reports that come out of the system. We do monthly budget reports that are posted on our website, and department heads are able to go in and look at their budget and their appropriation and what they've spent to date and what they have for any encumbrances and POs on a real-time basis.
Okay. I think it's hard, like looking and seeing and trying to figure out where our property taxes are allocated, because I'm trying to see what we're spending and where it's all going, and it's not very transparent.
Well, and I will say that I think it is. I mean, you have to know where to look. On the website, they publish the budget. There's monthly reports. I can actually probably have you and Derek coordinate on him showing you around the website and stuff,
Yeah.
but the budget's been published.
Yeah,
The
I
meetings
saw
are
the-
noticed,
Yeah.
we're trying to be as transparent as possible.
I just think, and I've had a lot of people ask me, all these different questions, just like I'm asking you guys, because when you're looking at it, I saw the budget, okay, and then I have to read through all the notes. So it's like piecemealing together to try to figure out what's going on. It's not very simple to read. And so I'm trying to figure out how it's easier for everyone to figure out where our money's going.
Okay.
So I know you guys did some cost cutting, but I'm just looking at you know, with the DRA, I understand how they decide our tax rate and how the town does, but with the increase of our assessments of our homes, just the residential, let's see, it went up almost $1 billion. $100,000 away from $1 billion. So if we gave $1 billion more in our assessment, and our property tax still went up from 18 to 20.44, where, I know somebody asked last week, what did you guys get for revenue from one year to the next? Let's see. So in '22, it says the receipt for tax collector, property tax, interest costs, and other taxes, which is not really split out, but was 44.6 million. And then in '23, it was 50.3 million. That's residential and commercial, obviously. But if you calculate our assessment just for commercial, we paid 44 million in property taxes out of, sorry, this is how many papers there are, try to get numbers. Out of 50. So what is the commercial rate?
So in the state of New Hampshire, there is no difference between commercial rate and residential rate. What we do is, working with DRA, we determine the total amount of taxes that we need to collect to fund the town, the local school, the statewide education, property tax, and the county portion. So that gets our total amount. That's what you see on the tax collector. That was the 44 million or the 50 million,
Yeah.
or in 2024 it was close to 55 million. That's the total amount of taxes that we collect. You divide those numbers by the total value of the town to get your tax rate. And then that tax rate is applied to each individual property to figure out what their share of the taxes is.
Well, no, I understand that. I have the MS1 valuation form, so that breaks it down how the DRA gets their numbers and the valuation rate per county, local ed, and then the valuation without utilities for state education tax, how it's computed, but I'm just, I mean, and then the DRA, I mean, we have to submit our tax exempt properties, and Goffstown has a lot of property owned by the town. And then when I'm looking at the land value of some of these, 10 acres worth $1,000.
So, Jessica, thank you for coming to the committee today. I recommend that you get together with Derek or Danielle and they can explain a lot of this, because I think a lot of this is questions, some of which we've covered through previous meetings, but also like helping you better understand. And then when you have a comment, we will be happy to
Okay.
take more of it.
Well, my comment is, I think it just needs to be easier for everyone to understand and more transparent. And I don't want to tax anyone out of this town, myself, everyone else here. So I think it's really important that everyone speaks up and we hear their voice. And I hope you guys know that a lot of us work in the trades. So it's really important that we save money. And I'm a parent, single-family home, and my taxes went up so much that it's almost more than my mortgage. So,
Thank
hope
you.
everyone keeps that in mind when you make decisions on the budget.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Thanks, feel free to contact.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Is anyone else here for public comment? Come on up.
Hi, Mary Roy, Juniper Drive. Just something quick. I had calculated taxes that we had paid back in 2021 into what we're paying now. And in the last 3 years, it's a 37% increase in our taxes, which is an exorbitant amount of money to have to pay, 12.3% per year. And I'm just wondering how long we can sustain this way, because it is going to price people out of town, and it's going to be very difficult for elderly that are on fixed incomes to be able to afford living here. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else here? Come on up.
Do you see my name?
Your name and your street. you live on.
Okay. My name is Jessica, and I live on Tibbetts Hill Road. So, out of curiosity, because you sort of start pulling, you're going, what's going on? Why are my taxes so high? So my husband and I decided to inquire about the last 20 years of tax on our residents. We've lived there since 2007. So we pulled some numbers, and I think I appreciate all that you guys do. I know you don't make a lot of money doing this. This is not an easy job. You make no money.
no money.
You make no money. Like, I listen to the meeting. I clean houses for a living. I listened to the entire meeting that was a few days ago. And honestly, I was tired and felt like I needed to get paid. So I appreciate all you do. But that aside, we kind of went through starting when we bought the house. So our property value has gone up 95% since 2007. Our property taxes have gone up 94%. So that kind of, balances out. The town budget has gone up, depending on the numbers you get. You got one from, that I think it was 2024, I have two numbers, 29.3 million and 25.2 million. So depending on which number it is, it went up 87% or 75%. The budget has gone up since 2007. So I'm just going off since we've lived in this town. Consumer price index has gone up 76% since 2007. So we're 20% higher. And that's from the Federal Reserve website, so if you want to fact check me. Property taxes have gone up. So what we basically have is, we went through all the numbers. So starting in 2007, for us, and I'm assuming our numbers are probably pretty similar to everyone else's, give or take a few percent points here and there. So starting in 2007, we actually saw a drop of 3%. In variable, ups the following year, up 7%, down 4.5%, up 5%, down 1%, up 6%. So this is kind of going through the years. Up 6%, up 5%, up 3%, down 3%, up 4%, down 5%. We hit the big year of 2019, and our taxes went up 35%. So then the increases actually continued. It was kind of weird. We had a 1%, 0%, 6%, up 10%, up 8%. So if you do this is why I think people are losing their minds. The cumulative increase from 2007 to 2018 on our house was 17%. The cumulative increase from 2018 to 2024 was 60%. So I understand there's lots of wants, probably a ton of needs. I drive really crappy cars. I love a nicer car. But we are pricing people out of this town. I love this town. My boys have played Little League. They have been in state championships. We love this town. But it's getting to the point, our taxes are more than our mortgage payment. And it's like, you go from, our taxes have gone up almost 100% since we bought this house. So I can't sign off on a budget because I'll be moving. And I don't want to move because I've raised all my kids in this town. We have a 24-year-old daughter. All of them have been raised in this town. So with that said, I think hopefully these numbers will help you understand this is why people are losing their minds. Like 60%, I don't know about you, but I actually think I'm making less money. Our house is making less money since COVID than we did. Yet we've seen a 60% increase in our property taxes. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is anyone else here? Come on up, Tim.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Searles, Terrell Hill Road. I'm here to represent now 4 households, 8 eligible voters. We will not be voting for any increases in this coming election. We will not It's just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna beat the dead horse here. I think she did a pretty fantastic job at nailing it on the head. But I just want to make it known, everything of what she said is true. Pricing people out, my mortgage, my taxes are almost exceeding my mortgage now, and it's not sustainable. So.
Thank you.
Are we responding at all?
Sure.
So I actually, no, I wasn't directly to you. I would just kind of say, everyone keeps throwing out the wants versus needs. And I think I said this to you last time you spoke, which I'm still happy to say it again, but we want to hear what you guys think are the wants. What is the town willing to get rid of and not have to bring their taxes down? Because that's kind of the point. That's where we're at right now. If you watched our last meeting, we were cutting stuff, but I keep hearing wants versus needs. I want to know what everybody thinks are wants versus needs, because your wants are different than other people's wants, and needs are different from other people's needs. You know what I mean? So that's where I go back to the people. I say this every time. Every person who says to me, there's too much fat, it's too much, I will not vote for it. What do you guys want to not have in our town anymore? That would help us. That would help us to try to make good decisions.
Okay. Come on up.
Can I make a quick,
Let's
after Liz?
Good evening. I'm Warren Jenkins. I'm on Leslie Drive. The statement, I do appreciate everything you guys do. I know it's not easy what you do, especially when it comes to this type of stuff. What you just said, isn't that where you guys are supposed to come in and tell us, hey, we don't need this? I mean, we're not part of the budget committee, so we really, I think we're more relying on you guys to say, hey, you know, if we do this, we can't get that. If we don't pay for this, we can't get this. I think us as citizens of the town, we need to hear it from you guys, where the effective cuts can be made, if any. You know, what are the choices, you know? Right now, we're kind of flying blind. We don't have a actual roadmap other than, you know, the taxes are going through the roof, which, right, wrong, or different, it is what it is. So, I think, speaking for myself, I don't know if anybody else is on board with it, but I think I would look to you guys to make the recommendations to where we can save, where we have to spend, that type of stuff. Because you'll have everybody, you know, I don't want a basketball court, I don't want this, it's, you know, we need schools, we need police, we need fire, we need DPW, we need all that stuff, but there's gotta be somewhere to save some money within that whole scope of things. And correct me if I'm wrong, what we're looking at right here is just the town portion, has nothing to do with the education, so that's gonna be a whole other, sounds like that's coming soon, so.
Yeah, Warren, I encourage you to sit tight because Jared will give us an update, and Scott on the school side, and we'll also get an update on the town side. Because on Tuesday, we made about $1.5 million in reductions.
And Warren,
proposed.
there's two pieces of paper right in front of you.
Yep.
Those are from the school. Those are what the budget committee has already cut from the school board budget. And the other sheet of paper is kind of what we're looking at for default over default. So what would be your increase from this year to next year for a default versus proposed? So definitely take a look at those two and let us know if you have any additional questions at the end.
Excellent, thank you very much, guys.
You're welcome. Go ahead. I'm going to let Laura, do you want to say
Thank you,
something?
yes, please. First of all, thank you everyone for your thoughtful comments. It helps so much to know that people are watching and people are paying attention. I think Warren brings up a super good point, which yes, like, I hope that as elected officials, the town can look to us to decide a want versus a need, prioritize. That is what we're here for. I think what we're starting, or what we're coming up against,
is we are doing that, but it's still not enough for what people are requesting, like for amounts cut. And I think we're really getting down to some real intense things that we'd have to cut next, because there really, in my personal opinion, I won't speak for the whole board, there really isn't a lot of extras, in my opinion. So we're gonna have to start cutting needs. And I think that's where it becomes more challenging, and we'd love to hear from the public. Because cutting, saying, we do not recommend a pool is one thing, right? We do not recommend a tennis court, that's another thing. But saying we're gonna, and I'm not saying we're doing this, but saying we're cutting police way down is a whole other thing. And we're getting to the point where there's not much else to cut, but some real stuff. And I think that's why, if anyone does have, we will continue to do our job and do the work, but if anyone does have thoughts, we do welcome them.
Okay, is there anyone else here for public comment that hasn't spoken yet? Go ahead, come on up, Jack. Okay, yep, go ahead, Joseph. We're gonna move into business and we can do this discussion in business.
I'll be quick, because I know
No, it's fine.
you guys had a long meeting last time. So for cuts, I think a lot of people have different opinions about what's a need and what's a want. So we'll start off with that. The select board, under default budget, gave non-union increase, which I think we need to look at. And then also the fire apparatus, it was voted down by voters, yet it's going to come back and ask us again. So I think, let's see, they have $750,000 in their capital fund. And I think that's what capital funds are for. It's like a savings account per department. So you have to plan and say, if I need this, I'll have it in X amount of years, because we put a certain amount, we allocate funds. So unless it's an absolute emergency, I don't think departments should be asking for more money. And I know that, what is it, 250 or 350,000 that they need to get it would be coming out of the unassigned fund, which is our surplus. I think we just need to keep that in mind. And also, what is our surplus? Because in 2022 is 10 million.
We'll speak more
No,
about
no,
it. Thank you
I'm
for
just putting it out there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Jack, come on up.
Isn't she referencing the money that we're trying to do to save for that future fire truck? Isn't that what she just referenced?
I think she was
The
referring
fire
to that
apparatus.
reserve fund balance, but I don't.
I know, but she also mentioned specifically, you mentioned like the 250 or 350, whatever, for fire apparatus.
Yeah.
But you also said we should be saving for something that is.
Well, no, that's what the capital fund is for
Right.
each department. I understand that, but.
I just
Okay,
got confused
all
because
right.
it seemed like you said we should be saving for that in the
No, that's what
future.
we are, that's what
Yeah.
we're doing, so.
Right.
What I'm saying bluntly is, don't ask for more money.
So
Have a
don't
plan.
save for it?
It's already in there, it is a savings account.
All right.
It's not enough for a fire truck.
All right,
That's what they're
Allison.
trying to get to. Okay, sorry.
I'm gonna,
You have
go
to
ahead.
wait a certain amount of years.
Jack Carbino, 35 Shirley Park, Goffstown. Think you know who I am by now. I'll be the guy to throw the bone tonight. We'll put it out there one more time. Well, first off, I understand that you are not the people who bring the budget, that I believe that our stewards, our managers, our department heads, our school administration come forth and bring a budget that I don't think is full of a lot of wants. I think it's full of needs. And I think they try and do a job. They all live here, and they try and run a pretty tight ship, and I think that you can see that when you start doing percentages. And I'll put out one more time for the public. The second to the fifth lowest total tax burden state in the union. We are doing less than more all the time, doing more with less all the time, every year. And if people are moving out, they only have 4 states to move to, if they even have that. One of them's Alaska, one of them's Florida. to move to get a lower tax burden than they have right here in New Hampshire. And that, the argument is about the way we fund stuff, and it's far more about who we vote into the state, in my opinion, than who we vote into the local boards. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Right, anyone else here? Okay, I'm gonna close, Tim, quick, come on up, quickly.
I know I already spoke, I know I already spoke. To answer the inquiry about what we can cut, I'm not sure about anyone else in this room, but I know on the road I live on, in the wintertime, and this is a very small example, I've seen the plow guy come up and down 5-6 times in a day after a snowstorm plowing dry roads. Love the town guys, I have a friend at the town. It's cool. You want to get some overtime? It's cool. Okay. Let's think about productive ways we can do that instead of running our plows. You know, that's one small example.
Okay, thank you. All right, so with that, I'm gonna close public comment. Move to old business, which is kind of budget deliberation. So at this time, I'm gonna call on Derek and Danielle to come give us kind of an update on what we have in the budget for deliberations. And then we're gonna move on to the Grassmere Village Water Precinct and Goffstown Village Water Precinct, and then back into deliberations.
Thank you. We distributed 3 items this evening for the Budget Committee, and if anybody's here in the room, we have extra copies out back. But we have an updated Budget Committee action through your meeting of December 17th that shows the total cuts that have been made on December 3rd, December 10th, and December 17th. So you have that there. And then we use that information to provide a tax calculation sheet revised with those cuts as well. This is similar to the sheet that you saw at your last meeting, but this gives you an idea of the estimated impact to the tax bill as well as where you are for the total taxes that the town would have to collect. And then the final sheet that you have is just an 8.5 by 11. This kind of shows you where we are with the town default budget and where the Budget Committee is with your budget right now. Currently, the 2025 default budget is $25,490,534. And the Budget Committee budget, with those changes that you've made through the 17th, is $26,450,383. So that's a difference of $959,849, or 3.77%. That Budget Committee budget, and those are the top 3 numbers, to give you some perspective, that appropriation would be 4.45% higher than the town's total appropriation in 2022. That means our budget, in times when inflation has been close to 12 and 13%, has grown 4.45%. We understand that on the property tax side, it has grown because of some revenues that have sunset and some other items, but just to give you some perspective, you're asking the town at this point to fulfill the same mission with basically the same amount of funds that won't go as far. The other bit of information, we haven't handed it out, but when the committee's ready for it, we do have the requested information about vacant positions on the town side.
Okay. Questions, comments? Samantha?
So on this lovely sheet, so on a single-family home that's worth about $414,400, the 12-month estimated property taxes, right, is $3,003.46. Is that with the default, or is that with, if the updated budget passes, is that with an additional 36 cents on the tax rate?
Yes, that is the updated, that would be the additional 36 cents on the tax rate. We did not hand out the default budget calculation again. Hopefully members had that from the last.
Okay, yeah. And then the don't remember what my other question is. I apologize. I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Derek, do you mind handing around that paper for us, please?
Yes.
Peter?
So Derek, am I correct? So you said the estimate, on the sheet again, the estimated change, and thank you for everything you just said, but for right now, I'm kind of sticking with the tax side as well. The estimated change to the annual bill would be plus 5.2%.
That is on the town portion only.
Yeah,
not-
specifically, yeah.
Not county or education, but
Yeah,
yes, on the
on the-
town
on the
portion,
town.
which represents about a third of the bill.
Yeah, I think probably a lot of folks out here were like, wait, my taxes have never been $3,000. Just to be clear, we were only talking about the town. We're talking about that as well. But, so it's going up 5.2%. We're making an increase as of right now to the actual budget in terms of over the default budget of 3.77% though.
Yes.
But even our default budget is only like a couple $100,000 more than last year's budget, right?
No, your default budget would actually be a reduction from your 2024 appropriation.
Our 2025 default, I have to look at it again. Anyway, what I'm trying to really get at is can we think about where's the difference come from? Right, if I'm thinking about that.
So there
I'm thinking
is
about the budget
about,
going
there
up
is
only by
about,
3.77, but our taxes going up by 5.2 on the town only.
that'd be on the revenue side. We have some revenues that have reduced.
So that's the big side is that our revenues are going down quite a bit.
Well, there is a delta of almost $960,000 on the appropriation side as well. So it is an additional appropriation ask, but it's also coupled with that loss of revenue.
Yeah. So the biggest difference, but I'm just talking about the difference between that 3.7, which is not technically accurate because I'm not comparing the right numbers, but the 3.77 approximately to the 5.2, the biggest difference is the reduction in revenue
Yes. Yep.
that we had last year.
Yep.
Samantha?
I'm sorry, you said that the 2025 default is a reduction on the 2024 default?
So if everyone has the sheet that I provided the other day, it had two different colors. There was the 24. That was showing that our 2025 default budget, if we are in default again, that will be a reduction.
Yep, it is.
Now, that does not include
Okay.
any other articles.
Okay.
But
Because I was going off of what the spreadsheet said, and I was like the original budget spreadsheet that I know isn't updated, and I was like, this is like $250,000 more. So it's,
it may be, on the appropriation side, it may be, so I guess, are you looking at appropriation or tax effort? What do we
I'm-
want to talk about tonight? Tax effort, tax rate, appropriation? How do we want to frame this?
I
I
think
get-
both are lower, actually. According to the sheet, both are lower.
So the tax effort, as you guys are well aware, but for those at home as well, is the amount of tax we have to collect. So the total appropriation that's approved by the voters minus the revenues we've brought in equals your tax effort. That's how much goes into the calculation for your taxes during the fall calculation of tax rate.
Frank?
Derek and Danielle, can you speak a little bit to the reduction in revenues? Is this COVID money? Is this something we anticipate coming back, or was this a one-time infusion of revenue that is pretty much gone forever?
So it depends which year you're talking about. So last year, we did have certain monies that were one-time through state aid or other things. Overall, we're seeing that the state aid is not increasing at the same pace as the expenditures that they're supposed to offset.
Gotcha.
We also do have some grant monies, COVID monies, as people refer to it, that have sunset. Those programs have gone away. And then overall, it's always a matter of us just trying to make sure that our revenues are projected as accurately as possible. We don't want to overinflate revenues and give people a false sense of what their tax base may be, their tax effort, if in reality, those revenues may not come in. So we estimate them as accurately as possible using the averages and any known quantities.
Thank you. Elizabeth?
So I'm looking at the sheet from the presentation of revenues. It's in my binder, so you probably can't see it. But you know the one I
You just
mean.
said a page number.
That one. It's page 14 of the presentation. And this is the revenue things. And it looks like revenues are going up overall and in each individual category except for federal grants.
So I think the thing you do need to be careful about, the revenues shown on that page, is the Budget Committee took 2 actions on Tuesday night that had a significant impact on our revenues. One was the Montalona Culvert Project.
Right.
We, at our request,
Right.
moved to the grant project, or
Right.
to the grant fund. So that was 390,000 or 380,000 and change
Right.
of revenue. Additionally, the pickleball and tennis courts had an offsetting revenue of 225,000. So the revenue that you see on the sheet that we provided in the original presentation has changed.
Which category would the pickleball revenue have been listed in? I guess it would have been impact fees?
It would have been under
and-
Parks and Rec, the Parks and
No,
Rec.
no, but on
No,
this,
on
they've
this
got
sheet.
like fees and department revenues.
Transfer, part of it was in transfer
Transfer
from other funds, and part of it is department revenue.
Okay.
'Cause it had
Transfer from other
multiple
funds
sources.
Is the impact fees, and the revolving fund is the department revenues?
I think the other way
Or
around.
the other way around? Okay. Okay. Okay, so, all right, that answers my question.
And on the revenues, kind of to what Frank was asking about the year, it just depends on which year we're looking at. If you're looking directly at 25, 24, 23, there's, obviously each year has different factors. I know earlier somebody mentioned 2019, but 2019 was a very different year because that was the year following return of funds from the school district, and so that was a one-time adjustment on that year.
Peter?
Are you able to give us an update on where we actually, you have the budget for revenues for 2024. Are you able to give us an update on where we anticipate we'll be for revenues? Or where are we for revenues this year?
So we do a revised estimated revenues when we set the tax rate.
Hold on a second, I have my tax rate sheet.
And if it's on something I already have, just let me know.
Just gonna get to the right tab. So if you're looking, what's your comparison for '24? Are you looking at the,
I'm looking at page 14.
are you looking at the detail sheet?
Nope, I'm not looking.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out which sheet you're looking at to figure out the,
I can go over to it though.
well, that's the appropriations. I just wasn't sure if you had, you're asking for the '24 amount, right?
Yes.
Okay. So where we are projected to land in revenue for 2024 is $9,585,790. And that's the number that was set after review of 10 months' worth of collection and DRA review of any state balances or state aid.
But that includes our sewer enterprise fund.
It does.
Oh, so that's not gonna line
not
up with what I'm looking at here.
And the sewer amount. I believe sewer was just around 1.8 million, but we'll check the details.
We can get that number for you.
So you just have to figure out what the sewer amounts were so you can subtract it from that?
So we can back it out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to give you the right number.
But again, if, at this point, if our revenues come in higher or lower than our revised. So in September, we prepare our revised estimated revenues, and DRA uses those numbers to determine how much we need to collect in taxes. When we get to the end of the year, we've actually collected revenues.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be 100% to the penny, the same as what we did in September. So if we get more revenues than we expected, which has been the case in recent years, those additional revenues go into fund balance. And if it's slightly less, then that would be, that would be money that kind of balances out on what we didn't spend. That make sense?
The second part didn't make sense to me, sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
So when you fund
That hasn't
balance-
happened lately, anyway. We haven't had that in the last few years.
Where our revenues have
No.
been short, no, they've
No.
always been, we're very conservative, especially during the budget process. We don't want to give the budget committee or the voters false sense of what our revenues will be coming in order for them to, approve a budget. We haven't
Yeah.
done that. Our revised revenues have been much closer. And then sometimes, especially with our motor vehicles that come in after the year, they're a little bit higher than we anticipated. Because when we're doing it in September, we have 8 months' worth of data, and we're projecting out that final 4 months.
So, to just clarify what Derek was saying about that fund balance is a snapshot in time. At the end of the year, the auditors go through, independent auditors take a look at everything, and they come up with a snapshot in time. It includes not just cash in the bank, it also includes monies owed to the town, property taxes. It's probably something you guys have heard me talk about at deliberative before. But if the revenues are over, that additional revenue that we weren't expecting goes into the fund balance along with any under expenditures. So if a project came in under budget, or if a position was vacant and we didn't spend the whole position, wages and whatnot for that year, that savings from not spending that full amount goes into the fund balance. So it all nets together into that one number. And that's really just a snapshot at the end of the year that's then used in the next year. The calculation, let me clarify, is used in the next year. The funding is not always a one-for-one.
It does make sense to me now, but.
Okay.
Haven't got it in a while. That's good. Okay.
Okay, other questions? Okay, so I guess I want to ask where the committee's at. We have 4 budgets in front of us. They gave us kind of an update where we're at. I figured the 2 that we can definitely knock out are the village water precincts. I feel comfortable setting those to public hearing tonight. And then we'll kind of talk more about the rest of the budgets after that. So with that, I'm going to do I'm going to call on Mark. There was a memo passed around last meeting about the Goffstown Village Water Precinct. This should have answered the committee's questions from last Thursday, but Mark's here to answer additional questions if you have them. So my question, Mark, the commissioner's annual stipend, how much is that?
It's $1,500 for each commissioner.
And what was the increase?
It was $300 each.
Okay, so in order to be consistent, I want to recognize Laura Stevens for a motion.
Thank you. I move that we change that line, that we, from 1,800 down to 0 to be consistent with the rest of the stipends that we.
Okay, so your motion, if I understand correctly, is to reduce the commissioner's stipend and corresponding FICA, Medicare.
To 0.
To 0.
Yes.
Is there a second? Second by Peter. Discussion on that?
I'm sorry, where's that on the?
Yeah, I
the
want to
sheet?
know, do you know what line that is? Mark, can you tell me what line your,
Is that in the
stipends come out of?
executive salaries area? All put together?
It must be all put together, correct?
We don't have to reference a specific line if, do we?
As long as the motion is clear and we can relay that to the, to Goffstown
it's
Village
pretty
Water
clear.
Precinct.
Yeah, the stipend, commissioner stipend. Okay. Other discussion on this?
So, again, I'm not clear. Is this the 4130 line that we're reducing by some amount, and what's that amount?
I would think so, yeah.
And what's that amount that we'd be reducing it by?
1,800,
1,800?
because that's the 15 plus the 300, is that correct?
Was it
For the three
Per-
positions.
per commissioner? you
It
said?
was 1,200, it's now 1,500
Per commissioner.
per commissioner.
So it's
Oh,
4,500.
understood.
So the reduction is 4,500 and then corresponding benefit.
Correct. Do you want me to restate?
Go ahead.
Okay. I move that we reduce 4130, it's salaries. We reduce the stipends, the total of the three commissioners, from 1,500 per commissioner equaling 4,500 to 0.
There's 5 commissioners.
Oh, gosh. I thought it was, do you have those?
I didn't know there was 5 of them, so that's 7,500.
7,500. So I move that we reduce salaries by 7,500 with associated benefits to 0.
Okay, second by Peter. All right, other discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor of Laura's motion to reduce the salaries line $7,500 corresponding benefits, please raise your hand now. Those opposed? Mark Raynaud, Kelly Boyer. Abstentions? All right. I'm sorry?
abstain.
He's going to abstain. Okay, so we're at,
Mark is abstaining?
Yep.
so motion carries 13 to 1 to 1.
No new.
Okay, other than, can you, Danielle, can you get us an updated number on that budget?
Which budget?
On the Goffstown Village Water Precinct budget,
Yes.
That's
I would have to-
ultimately up to the water precinct. We do not serve as staff for them. We can communicate this to them and ask that they
We're gonna
provide.
send, so we can send the budget, I thought we had to send the budget to a public hearing with a specific amount.
no,
Okay.
we just have
You just
to,
need to hold a budget hearing
on the budget.
on the
Okay,
budgets.
all right.
Yeah.
Is everyone comfortable with this budget?
I move that we move the budget forward to public hearing after this adjustment is made that we voted on tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mark, do you second?
Second.
Okay. Other discussion on this budget? Brian?
What specific, what'd you call me?
Brian?
Oh, I thought you said.
That's your
a
name?
different- Yeah, I thought you said, yes. What, specific to the.
We're
village-
just moving the Goffstown Village Water
Okay.
Precinct to public
I
hearing.
didn't hear that from Elizabeth's motion, but yeah, thank you.
Okay. All those in favor of Elizabeth's motion, raise your hand now. Those opposed, abstentions? All right, so 1500. That will be moved to the public hearing that I've noticed on January 14th. Next up is the Grassmere Village Water Precinct. I will recognize Laura Stevens for a motion.
I also I'm assuming this comes out of salaries as well. I'm gonna make the same motion, but I don't know what the exact amount is. So if I can, I move that we reduce the stipends per commissioner from whatever they currently are to 0. Is that
Including
appropriate?
corresponding.
And corresponding benefits.
We
Is
can
that a-
pass that along, we don't know what the
I
amount is.
looked to you
Yep.
because I wanna make sure that,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, it's more than, do you know what it is?
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
Do you know approximately? Do you know approximately?
I want to say about $2,000. But I think there's 3 commissioners.
Okay. All right, is there a second to Laura's motion?
Second.
Second, Frank. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor of Laura Stevens' motion to reduce the commissioner's stipend from whatever it is now to 0 and corresponding benefits, please raise your hand now. Those opposed? Kelly Boyer opposed, abstentions?
Abstain.
Mark Reno and Jared Talbot abstains, motion carries 12 to 1 to 2. All right, now I'll recognize Elizabeth DeBrule for motion.
Oh, are we going back to town?
Are we moving this to public hearing?
Oh, sorry, then I move that we, I move that we move the Village Water, the Grassmere Water Precinct budget forward to public hearing.
With the corresponding changes we made
Yes, with the
today.
corresponding changes. I'm sorry, you caught me like unaware, I was thinking about
That's
something
okay, I
else.
figured we were on a roll. Okay.
Second.
All right, second by Frank. So the motion is to move the Grassmere Village Water Precinct to public hearing with corresponding changes we made today. Any more discussion on this? All those in favor of Elizabeth's motion, raise your hand now. Those opposed, abstentions? All right, 15-0-0, so that will be moved to the public hearing on January 14th. All right, now we're up to town and school, so I guess I want to open the discussion up.
So I do have a motion.
Okay.
It's a little one, but it's all right. This is on police. Hold on, I lost my page. This is on page 8 of our spreadsheets.
Are you looking at town or school? I'm sorry.
I'm on town. Hold on while we all get here. I'll give everybody a minute to flip to this page. 8. The line, Frank, is 52325, crime prevention programs and equipment.
Said page 8, right?
Yep. My motion is to reduce that line by $3,500,
Okay.
which I will explain when somebody seconds.
Second.
Second by Samantha.
So this is the price of the electric bikes, and the chief has already secured these, so they do not need to be, he found funds to cover the cost for this year and has ordered them, and he does not need them in the budget.
Is the chief here? Where's the chief?
He's right
Oh,
there.
is that your?
One bite, yes, it is true, through the grants of the board.
Okay, great.
I have a question for him.
Go ahead. Chief, do you mind coming up?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Chief Eric Sreno.
You had one bike, how many bikes were you looking for? I just wanted.
So just to bring the committee back, when I budgeted for this, I asked for this, knowing that we might have a grant. We were asking and looking for one electric bike to kind of get rid of the old bicycles we have in the garage right now.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
All right, any more discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of Elizabeth DeBrule's motion to reduce line 1101-0000, sorry, 4 zeros, 52325 crime prevention by $3,500, please raise your hand now. Those opposed, abstentions? All right, motion carries 15-0-0.
Just double, you got a second, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Frank seconded.
Yeah.
Samantha.
Samantha.
Sorry,
Yes.
somebody seconded.
Everybody was jumping this.
Everybody wants to say.
Laura?
Thank you. So, the sheet, I think maybe you requested it, the open or vacant positions. I'm just curious about that, if we were gonna discuss it. I don't know if I have anything to say, but since it was requested, I didn't know
Yeah.
what the plan for it was.
So in the memo that you see before you, Derek summarized all of our current vacancies and noted where hiring is already in progress, whether people are in background check, whether conditional offers have been made. We have interviews scheduled for certain positions in town hall. So those have all been noted. And at this point, we're working diligently to try to staff the positions because it's a pretty excessive burden on remaining staff when we have multiple vacancies for any extended period of time.
Samantha?
So, I guess my question might be on the police department, just clarification. So there's 4, sorry, I'm not looking. So you have 4 vacant patrol officer positions, and you are administering written tests and oral boards for 4 people.
We have 4 openings, and we're actively looking for applicants, and we're trying to get written tests. So part of the process is, we're not as lucky to get 4 people all at once to take these tests, so what we're doing is, as soon as someone applies, we are having them come in, give them tests, oral boards, and put them through the process as fast as we can.
Okay.
So if we can get 4 tomorrow and they all pass through that, that's great. If we get 3 tomorrow, that's 3. It's not like 600 people are at our door saying, pick me, so we're just trying to get through every day we can. So
Okay.
we had one scheduled for Friday, a couple people. We had 2 last week that failed out of the test.
Okay. Do you have, so there's not 4 people who are like in the process right now?
No.
Okay. Would you say that you are consistently getting interviews?
I would say that we are consistently getting applicants, and we are doing our due diligence to make sure that they are the right fit for this agency.
Okay.
And sometimes they don't make it.
Okay. And then I guess the same question for dispatchers.
Same answer. yeah.
Okay, so you're going through, I asked this because it looks, to me, it looks like in the town hall side, there are 3 vacant positions and they are in progress, right? Like they're going through the HR, pathway. Super fun.
Yeah, ours isn't quite the same in that we don't do the rolling procedure that police and fire do.
Okay.
Because ours are very limited scope, so they get posted, applications come in, they have a deadline by which to apply, whereas police and fire get to, have an open period where people just apply as
Okay.
they come across the position if they're interested.
But there's still those 4 people, Chief Serino, who are, you would say you're consistently getting.
I'm not sure of the question, Sam.
So I guess, are you consistently getting applicants for these positions?
We're getting applicants, they just might not be the right fit.
Okay. And the same thing for the dispatchers?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
So any point, they could be one, but sometimes they're not.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Elizabeth?
Before we go too far down this road, because I can see where this is starting to head, I think maybe we need to have a little bit of a broader discussion here. So I have to say, I thought we were a little closer to what I was hoping to than we've turned out to be, because I think the number's still too high between the proposed and the default. And I totally hear what you're saying, Derek, because about inflation and not being able to keep up and everything else. But I feel like we are at the point where we really are asking, what services do we cut back on? Or where do we make these cuts that are going to have consequences? And I don't think we can make that decision on our own. I think this is, we really do need to have some kind of discussion with the select board, because we've cut everything. I mean, we already cut out anything that could be excess, which really wasn't excess. We've postponed everything we can postpone out of CIP practically, except for just a little bit. And I'm not sure where to go. And I think this is why we need to have discussions with the select board and find out, I mean, what do we cut? What services do we stop providing?
So you want me to go back and ask the board to give a recommendation of services to cut?
Well, I think that this board needs to have this committee needs to have a discussion about this and figure out, I mean, does anybody else have ideas of the path to go on how, are people satisfied with this number? Are people, if not, then how do you see us getting to the number we want to get to? And, I mean, I wish I had some sort of, rigid plan at this point, but we did my plan and it's still not enough. So where do we go from here?
Jared?
Elizabeth, not to put you on the spot, but I know you have a master plan that you're thinking of.
But it's done.
But I heard, if I heard correctly, you said it's still too high. What would be the number that we would need to get to as a board in order for you to be comfortable to recommend it?
Me personally, I was hoping for something closer to 3%, like not 3.77, but closer to 3, like a flat 3. And I do think, I know Kelly and I disagree on this, but I do think that number between proposed and default, I think anything over 500,000, I think voters are going to reject it.
Thank you. Thank you for answering.
Brian?
Thank you, Chair. Just to piggyback on Elizabeth, I think from my perspective and the constituents I serve, 3% is still too high. Even if it's in front of the voters, I still think there's sentiment out there that they're not going to vote for it. So I'd love to see that percentage go down. How we get there, I have some motions too, but you know, it's going to take a lot of work to get down to 0% or just above that 0%, because again, if everyone's in the hardship position, if it's an additional $100, they're not going to vote for it. So I'm really wrestling with that. So I'd like to make a motion, actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I move to reduce, it's a CIP item, forward code is 903-05501. Oh, I'm working off the CIP, basically, sorry. Second. What?
17, either 17 or 18.
Hold on.
Okay. I think Brian's on the big ticket items.
I'm on the big
page.
ticket item, sorry.
Oh, it's not.
Well, it's on page 18 on our budget report. So it's, why is it? Oh, yeah, so it's object code 53475. Library facility repairs, I want to reduce window restoration from $40,000 down to $23,000.
Why 23?
It's a $17,000 reduction, and from my opinion, or my understanding, the quote they got was at $34,000, so I want to cut in half.
Second, so we can talk about this.
Yeah.
Second by Samantha. So the motion is to reduce the line from 40,000 to 23,000?
Yeah.
I would say 20,000, I thought.
Yeah,
Let's go with the motion
Yeah.
and see.
Okay, so 20,000 or 23?
Why, I did 23, because
All
it
right,
was.
23 is fine. Yep.
It was just half of the
quote itself, right?
the quote itself, and my argument is just this, that I would want the library to actually go for L-chip and try to find a mechanism or funding source to restore the windows, anything else that actually would be indicative of a historical building. So,
Olivia?
Would it make sense to reduce that line to 0 then? Because they wouldn't be able, no.
Well, typically when you apply for grants, they
You
want to
need-
look for public
For
matching
matching,
funds. Yeah.
right.
So if we fund half of it, that'll encourage
Got
them to
it.
get the other.
Okay, thank you.
Laura?
Can I ask Diane a question?
Yeah, Diane, do you mind coming up?
Come on down. So as far as matching funds, is this the place where you have those funds? Are they available to you anywhere else? Like, as far as matching, is this the line that you have set aside specifically? That is where those matching funds would be coming from?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, that was all. This is an easy one.
You got a book out and everything.
Other questions for Diane? Go ahead.
So I know that we've had conversations around L-chip. Do you, in the grand scheme of all grants, do you feel that the library board would be prepared to go for a grant with that funding this budget year?
So that's a trick question, because when I was presenting, we talked about L-chip, and Elizabeth's recommendation was that we group our window restoration project with our repointing project, which I did bring to the Library Board of Trustees for a dialogue. So I can't guarantee that we're going to do it separate from the repointing project, so.
It's really better to combine them.
Right.
It really is. But the thing is, the town would have to, the 20,000 is part of the match, but it's not the full match. So we'd have to do that in next year's budget.
Exactly.
To make up the difference. And by the way, Diana, I will help you guys with the L-chip. Okay, so.
I'm documenting that.
You
It's
can
now
document it.
recorded.
It's
It's recorded.
The L-chip.
Yeah.
So,
Would they be able to encumber these funds then? for
Yes,
this?
we would.
Okay.
Danielle spoke to that on that evening, that we could encumber them and then roll them over with the other project, so.
Well, she just encumbered Elizabeth.
I would say it would be very hard for them to apply to an LCHIP with no matching funds at all. That would, I think they would almost certainly not get it if they didn't have something, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and my, what I've heard from them is that it's a requirement, 50%. You have to have that matching amount of money. So.
Doug, did you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Is it feasible, and if it was cut in half, let's say you didn't get the LCHIP funds, could you do half this year and then?
We would not do it that way. We would want to do the whole project at once
And why-
because it's an interruption to service and accessibility, so we don't want to break it into pieces.
Okay, so I'm suggesting that if it didn't come through, if we gave money this year, at least half, you'll have, and the budget passes, you'll have, at least have it in the default next year. So I'm suggesting that.
No, that's
I know-
not-
No, that's.
Because it's a one-time, right?
It'd be a one-time
Oh,
project.
because, okay.
But they can encumber, they can save the funds if they have like
Yeah.
some sort of approval or quote in hand or something.
They need to have a signed contract to encumber those funds. So they would need a signed contract to do half the windows with the hope that the additional half is funded in the following year.
Okay, other questions for Diane? Peter?
I don't know, I kind of like Brian's thinking here, I just want to double check. So in this idea, right, we're kind of saying, hey, the onus is a little bit more on you, we're saying we should cut this, we're going down to supporting it halfway on our side, in order to give you the tools to go after the grants. They don't go, they go after the grants, they get it, great. They don't get it this year, that means we got to come back next year and be like, okay, what'd you get, like, the questions that I'd be asking of you, Diane, next year is like, well, tell me about the process that you went through, right? I'd want to kind of know that you did your homework, right? I assume you will. And then you come back and you say, yes, we did X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. I just want to make sure, are we going to have an open discussion next year and be like, okay, thank you, so what are we doing now, right? We're either saying, okay, we're going to fund the whole thing, or literally, we're just not funding these windows. That's the question. Is that the plan for next year, so to speak?
You're asking me directly?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of presumptions in that, but I
If I'm making any presumptions, then.
No,
correct me.
well, I guess I'm not clairvoyant in regards to what's going to happen, but I guess if it goes to ballot and it doesn't pass, meaning it goes to default, then this body next year would deliberate and talk about it if it's something that we have to do for the library. I guess I'm not sure where even again, there's a lot of hypotheticals and I'm not clairvoyant what's going to happen.
So the projections I'm talking about so I'm not thinking about default necessarily, right? It's
Okay.
just, because it's not something that stays in default, no matter what, it's a one-time expenditure regardless. It's something that we're saying, hey, we have to make cuts, so come down to 23, we'll give you, because we're giving you the 17, so that's the amount that we need for the actual windows, which is half, so that you have a tool to use to go after grants, right?
Yeah.
If you don't spend it, it goes to the unassigned fund balance essentially, or it gets moved. But next year, if they do their homework, are we gonna support the $38,000 windows that it costs next year? And I do think it's important for us to be asking ourselves, how do we plan on behaving? Like, is that what we're doing, or are we doing something else here?
I guess.
Allison had her hand up. Go ahead, Allison.
Because I'm actually confused with, if we cut this down by half, but we're telling her she has to go try to get a grant for the windows and the repointing, where's the repointing half coming
The
from? to be able to-
repointing money's in the 2026 CIP matrix. So the discussion that we had during presentation was that we group the projects together and apply for LCHIP. So what would happen, if I understand what Brian is doing, he's making a motion to give us the 50% match for LCHIP that we can then encumber with a contract to add it to the repointing money if it's approved by the budget committee in the process. So that's how I'm understanding what he's saying.
Thank you. I think you bring up a super good point. Presumably, many of us will be here next year. And so I like that talk about like, so if we're asking this of a department head, then next year when it comes back, okay, Diane and the board have done all the stuff, they have the quote, they have the sign, then are we going to have a good conversation about this is kind of the process we were thinking. Now let's recommend or keep money in the or whatever to continue to fund the other half of this. Am I understanding that?
I think we would have to, I think technically, if I'm correct, we would have to fund the whole because it wouldn't be able to be encumbered unless they could get the contract, and if they
Sure,
can't get the
sure.
matching funds, they're probably not gonna be able to get the contract. So I think we'd have to just come back and just say,
You
you
get
know,
all.
are we for or not for the quote-unquote 34,000, but we just don't know if the quote's gonna change next year either.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make this quick. I feel like if Diane comes to the budget committee next year with a 50% match on something through grant funding, like, I think that's something that I'd go for.
So to clarify,
Yeah.
I'm still a little confused about if we're not giving you 50% to match, how will you get the money
We,
from LCHIP? If we're not giving you
The
that
50%
match
of the repointing
right
also.
now,
If
right?
it's supposed to be
Right.
lumped together,
Because the
how would we
So
apply for
what
it?
was just stated is that we need to go for the LCHIP funding just for the windows, and then come back to the budget committee already with that grant.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding that correctly.
That's how I
Did you
understood what
say
Joe
that,
just
Jess?
said.
No. So the way this would work is, when you don't have to, when you apply for the LCHIP, you don't have to have the 50% in hand.
Oh, okay.
You have to just have like a show that the community
Yes.
supports it and has already put some money aside. And because that is your proof that the community actually wants this done. But then you have a certain amount of time after you get the LCHIP to raise
Okay.
the extra amount. So the timing would work, but you would, I don't remember what LCHIP's cycle is. I think it's the school year, but I'm not sure. So we'd have to go back and look at it again.
They typically award the first week of December. They just announced awards 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they announce in December, and if you have to seek further appropriation, you do that following March town meeting.
Right. So you would have a little bit of time to match this all up. And if for some reason you didn't get the LCHIP, then the money that had already been set aside for this, depending on the timing, could be used to at least fund part of this. So, not to rub salt in anybody's eye, but this really would be easier if the library had a capital reserve fund, because that money could just get tucked away and saved, and then we wouldn't have to worry about trying to fund these over budget years like this. But anyway, can't change that one right now. But, so, it would be helpful to have this money as seed money to raise the rest of it.
Doug?
Is it, I'm looking at the library sheet 15, and there's 55,000 in maintenance proposed. Is it feasible to move the 17,000 from CIP to maintenance? Could that also be applied to LCHIP?
Well, part of that was, correct me if I'm wrong, the drainage, parking lot drainage project. I think that
Yeah,
part
the
is-
additional $20,000 that we added was for the drainage project,
Yeah.
correct?
Okay. So my question, is that possible to do that? Can we do that?
Well, I mean, I think
Still get
Diane
LCHIP?
has a bottom line budget, so I think she'll have the 23,000 in CIP, and then she'll have money in the facility maintenance fund. It's basically, I mean, CIP
I
is
don't think it
for
changes
specific-
anything, right?
Yeah, where I'm going
It
with
wouldn't
this-
do anything if we moved it.
Well, where I'm going with this is, if this does get passed, it'll be in the default budget and on the
No.
regular.
No.
No.
No?
No. It's a one-time.
No, that's why I'm saying if we move it into maintenance as opposed to CIP.
It's still a one-time
Still
purchase.
one-
Yeah, no
You
matter
still
which
take
line
those
it's in.
items and break them
The
down.
20,000 for
Okay.
the parking lot drainage project is not gonna be in the default budget next year. It's just this 1 year,
Okay.
unless she has another project to put in.
All right.
Okay, everybody else with Diane?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. So there's a motion to reduce,
Can I amend my motion?
sure?
Yeah, I want to reduce that same line item from the 23 to 20,000, keep it clean. I was wrestling with my head, just keep it clean, 20,000
Yeah.
instead of 23,000.
All right, so the motion is to reduce,
You want me to read it? Just to reduce,
reduce line 9030550153475 from 40,000 to 20,000 by Brian, seconded by
Samantha.
Samantha. Any more discussion on this?
I just want to double check, was this, I thought we were doing it based off of a specific number. That was the reason we were reducing it, because we were thinking about the 17. What am I missing?
No, we were actually, the reduction was gonna be 17, each amended it to 20,000 reduction, just to keep it clean, cut the project,
Yeah.
cut it in half.
But, so the 17, you were reducing it was, go ahead.
no, it was just, it was half of the quote I remember that Diane got. To
Got it.
keep it clean, I just did 20,000.
I got you.
Yeah, if we have 20,000, she can say that there's 20,000 in matching public funds for this
Yeah.
project.
So instead of half the quote, it's half of the projected appropriation.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Laura?
Just a quick comment that I hope, if we're going to do this, that in good faith, we really do give it its due consideration based on the work that Diane and the board will do when this comes around next time.
Okay. All right, all those in favor of Brian's motion, raise your hand now. Those opposed? Abstentions? Passes 15-0-0. Do you have another motion?
Well, I have a question
ahead.
for Adam first.
All right, Adam.
I'm gonna bring all my stuff, and it's gonna be just a yes, no, right?
All right, maybe. No, we had this discussion the other night, and I'm inclined to make a motion to reduce some of the highway reclamation. If we reduce it by a small amount, say 200,000, 300,000, what does that, how does that impact the town, like your department?
Sure, so, to make it easy, let's say it's a 200,000, keeping in mind that we're, the inflation that we saw from the 18% increase in asphalt has
Okay.
already put us backwards from where we were. A 200,000 for, let's say, the 2024 project list would have, so we overlaid a good portion of Tibbetts Hill Road this year. That would be from Lauren Lane to Acorn Drive. That was roughly $85,000 worth of asphalt for that stretch of that one road. Well, here's a better one. Mountain Road was overlaid from Lesnick up. That was about $300,000 worth of asphalt. So a $200,000 hit would be a couple roads if it's smaller sections, or, a big collector road in total.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to? Danielle, can you talk to me about the bookkeeper position at Town Hall?
Sure.
Anything else?
What would you like me to
That is a lot.
speak to on that?
Well, it's currently vacant. Who's covering?
Me.
You're doing that? And you're doing the accountant?
The other individual in our office who was the accountant is now supposed to be transitioning to finance director is covering accountant. So I'm covering finance director duties because we need separation of duties. I'm also covering the benefits administrator who's currently out on leave for an extended period of time. I'm working on average 60 hours a week.
She actually works in the cafeteria too at the middle school sometimes. It's a joke. It feels like it.
Feels like
Danielle is
it.
everywhere.
Feels like it.
All right, Brian, go ahead.
I have a motion coming, but give me a second. I gotta find
I
that.
have a question for Adam.
Look for the line.
Not the deviate from what you're talking about.
Does the motion have to do with DPW?
Yes.
It does.
All right, Adam, sit tight. Samantha, you have a question?
So I know when we talked about, when you gave us your spreadsheet, you had talked about not necessarily doing mowing, and it was really just about like the knot grass treatment.
Talking about the, I think I had given you the discretionary
Yes. You gave us the
type items.
discretionary ones, and it was, I think it was under consulting services.
Yes, so there's a lot in there.
Right.
So the pieces of, I'm sorry, I'll get ahead of your question. Go ahead.
So my question is gonna be, there's a lot of stuff in here. What is incredibly necessary and what is not so necessary?
So, of that line, the things that we do that are, death by 1,000 paper cuts, if we avoid doing it, would be roadside mowing. It's cheaper to mow than it is to cut trees by hundreds of percent. But, like I said, if we don't mow, it's not like the town's gonna fall apart. Knotweed treatments, the catch basin pipe cleaning. So catch basin pipe cleaning, there are some federal requirements that we're supposed to hit, and we don't do everything in town with that annual funding. We rotate through, try to get a little bit over a third of the town done, so we keep up and catch basins don't fill up to where the pipe invert level is, which means the sediment that's in the bottom of those and potential contaminants don't get through the pipes and into rivers and streams and lakes. But there's, the other way to handle that is just to avoid the preventive maintenance and wait till things back up. But obviously, that's a lot more expensive when you get to that point. But the drug and alcohol program is federally required. Our engineering consultants, if we have a project that has something above our capacity to engineer, that's a necessary item. The MS4 sample testing is federally mandated under the EPA's Clean Water Act. DigSafe membership, if we're going to participate, is a requirement. Utility marking has to happen if we get a DigSafe ticket called in and we have to pay the dam registration and background checks. So those are all, I would say, non-discretionary, but mowing, knotweed, and catch basin cleaning are the three items that there's some ability to defer if you so choose.
Do you have a number of what those three things would cost?
In total?
Yeah.
Let's see.
And I apologize for basically asking you to make my motion for me in this moment.
That's what we're here for. All right, so in total, of that proposed budget, roadside mowing is $60,000. Knotweed treatment, $7,500. And catch basin cleaning and jetting, $30,000.
So $97,000. $97,500. Okay. I just want to say, I think, like you just said, cutting all of these is like death by 1,000 paper cuts. So I don't want to make a motion to cut this by $97,500. I guess I'm wondering what other people might be comfortable with, is like 50,000? Go ahead, Laura, help me out.
Half of that?
Okay. So,
And I would just, before you get too far down, I would really want to stress that these items are preventative in nature, and it's, in my opinion, penny wise, pound foolish if we get rid of preventive maintenance of our right-of-ways, especially the drainage piece.
We also
we
just
could-
cut all of Adam's CIP projects for next year, so that's something to think about too, is I don't know what, we cut the CIP so that we could keep the road funding in there, but now maybe we're doing some I don't know, so I'm having trouble with this, Adam. Go ahead, Laura.
Thank
And then
you.
Olivia.
Yeah, this is another one where my concern is that it will actually cost us more in the future if we cut it now versus just kind of taking this one now and not putting any of it off, even though I guess technically if you were to rank the things, maybe we could cut it down half, maybe we could zero, but we don't want to not have that in the future, and I'm concerned about that, about getting that back.
Yeah, and I guess I just want to say that, like, I do not want to cut this. I'm just trying to think of other, even though I know that we have completely slashed Adam's budget, and so I, like, apologize for bringing you up here again to slash it more, right? I'm just trying to think of things that are, I'm not really sure what word, like, easier is not the word that I want, because it's not easy, and I don't want, like, I don't take any joy in this.
Things that might hurt less.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if you look at that list of, what I titled quote-unquote discretionary items, line striping, for example.
I was gonna talk with you about that,
If
too.
we forgo line striping, in sum or in total, there's a period of time in which those lines get faded, but they're still there. Some of this is to restripe roads that are paved, so I wouldn't ever want to suggest reducing it to zero, because new pavement is going to be very tough to see at night, especially when it rains. There's some room there if the town wants to stripe fewer roads. There's not a federal mandate for every single road that we stripe the way we do to do that. Traffic levels don't quite support that. But when you get into those rural areas without streetlights and dark curves and all that, you've got to now balance the safety factor of it. In the long run, from a town maintenance spend, line striping is not going to hurt me, like catch basin cleaning or roadside mowing in particular are. It, though, becomes a safety issue for the public, especially the elderly. So that's what, I think that calculus there would have to be.
Right. And I'm also, I guess I just want to say that, like, I'm looking for these other things in an attempt to not cut anything from the road plan. Because I think that, but I also think that line striping, like you just said, I mean, when there's no point in having a road plan if we're not going to paint the roads, right? Like.
Okay. Elizabeth, go ahead.
But, I mean-
I'm sorry, did you want Olivia, did you have something?
Adam just answered my question, it's
Okay.
okay.
So I apologize to you, Adam. This is tough going, and I know your department is really taking the hit. I mean, and again, I just want to emphasize, we're trying to keep our priority focus on town employees, which includes not only the wage adjustment, but also the loss of the SAFER grant and adjusting to that. This is a one-time hit. We're going to have to come back next year and rebuild some of these CIP items. But at some level, if we're all heading towards DPW, all this becomes semantics, and it seems sort of silly with the bottom line budget to put Adam on the spot and say, what line do you want to cut? He might need some time to think about it and to talk about it and to figure out where he's going. So it might be better to just do a block cut out of the road grant, a road plan, because he can always move things back and forth. The road plan is also easy to add to during the year, if there's extra funds, if there's things that don't get expended, they can do a
Yeah.
line transfer and shift things into the road plan and do more for the roads. And
Okay.
I don't see any place else it can come. I really don't.
That's a good point.
I have two, but I don't think anybody's gonna like them very much. Well, I don't think it's gonna pass, but I have two. Frank, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with Elizabeth. I think we should pick a number that I think Adam can live with. We're balancing properly funding our departments with our constituents that are coming up to the microphone saying they're priced out of the town. So nobody wants to make the cuts where, sometimes we have to balance those things. We have our neighbors saying it's too expensive, so, I would prefer to give Adam all the money he wants and more, but it doesn't balance with what our neighbors are saying. So I like Elizabeth's idea of let's look at an amount from the reclamation project, and Adam can, in essence, backfill it if there are any other funds that come available or, appear throughout the year.
Curious about your ideas.
I want to know what they are too.
All right, well, first thing is I'm gonna make a motion to reduce the bookkeeper position to 0.
Can we talk about these things before
Yeah.
we make motions?
Yeah, no, that's what I wanna do.
Wait,
Yeah,
what is it?
and
Okay.
Well,
There's a
second, we
vacant,
can
there's
talk
a
about it,
vacant
sure.
bookkeeper position. I also think, personally, the library is open 51 hours a week. There's 12 full-time, there's 6 full-time, 6 part-time. Services-wise, I don't think we would need to cut services to cut maybe 2 library positions.
2? Well,
And the only reason I say that is because it's a trustee policy to have a staff on every level, but it's not necessarily like a requirement, so I'm looking, I mean, the hours, it's open 51 hours a week, and there's 12 people working in the building. It seems like, so those are my two, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know how popular they are, but
I don't like either.
that's what I
Yeah,
got.
Those are tough
I don't like
sells.
either of those.
I don't like either, but I don't like our citizens being priced out of the town either.
Yeah.
Could I ask
Olivia, go ahead.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. My concern with the library, and I understand it's not a huge building, but what would you do if someone collapsed on the third floor and nobody was there? Or same thing on any, it's the first floor, there's a lot of people coming in and out, that's the only access point. If anything happened on any other floor, someone could be there for who knows how long.
No, I understand, there's 6 full-time staffers, so assuming they're here 40 hours a week, there's 2 people on every floor, 40 hours a week. And then on top of that, there's 6 part-time. So say they're only here 11 hours a week. That means hypothetically, there could be like 3 people on every floor.
Come on, Joe.
There's not 3 people.
So,
Right.
that's all I'm saying, so, good lord.
So that's not quite how it works, because the library isn't open like 9 to 5 every day, and everyone's there 9 to 5 every day. The staff is, I mean, it shifts, for lack of a better word, but there's some overlap and then there's some not. Also, and I do scheduling for a ton of things, so I get this piece, which is that, like I say for my job, okay, we can make it happen with 2 people at this certain situation. But if one of them calls out or has an emergency, we're like screwed. So it's not like overstaffing, it's covering, because you can't at any moment guarantee that, okay, you have 2 people manning this and like, okay, that'll do. But if someone has to leave, you have 1, and that's like never okay. So, no. And there was another point, if I can make, or, as far as, and I get it, because I live here, and my taxes are super high as well. But I think Jack said it during public comment. And I don't deny that people are struggling, like, clearly, and again, we always say, we all live in this town too, so we're not, unaware. That thing of being priced out, and I know I'll get flack for this, but that's fine. There's not, like, there's not a lot of houses for sale here. And there's not a lot of places to go locally that are cheaper. And when houses are for sale, they're getting scooped up and there are bidding wars. So I think it's a little disingenuous, even though I do understand that families are having to cut and having to struggle. I think it's a little disingenuous to say that everyone's going to leave, because, like, where are you gonna go that's cheaper? And people are moving in. So that's a little disingenuous. I'm a little tired of hearing that statement. That's all.
Elizabeth?
Can I hear your reasonings behind the bookkeeper position?
It's vacant. And it's
They've been getting
currently
along
being
without
filled
it?
in. I know Danielle's doing overtime on that, but maybe
No, I'm salaried, I don't get any extra money.
you're doing overtime work for the
Oh.
same pay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant by that. but
Yes, I
know
live
you're
here,
salaried.
that's right.
Could the responsibilities be split up at all?
No, currently, just to speak to some of, well, before I get too far, was there a second?
Was there a
I'm
second?
sorry.
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay, so we're not,
About it.
okay. So for the position, this position does cover a lot of duties. They're critical functions. Finance is a centralized department, so everything that goes through other departments has to go through us. This position covers payroll processing, covers all of our deposits. It also processes all of our billing out to other towns, which gets our revenue in. We are 6 months behind on billing. We are 3 months behind on state-required reporting, which is incurring fees and late penalties. We are 2 months behind on health insurance payments. We are struggling with payroll. The teams over there, I'm sure, can all speak to the fact that payroll's been late 2 weeks in a row, which hurts my heart because mine's also late. And it's just a matter of this position covers so much, more so than can be covered in 40 hours typically, but we are doing our best to keep critical functions going. So, and I know Derek wants to speak to it as well, and I can answer any questions, but just a really high overview of what that position does.
If it's okay with the chair, I'll hold my comments until I hear other questions from
Sure.
committee members.
Elizabeth?
So, I mean, I appreciate trying to come up with solutions, and I think we do need to talk about these things, but I think it's less damaging to cut the road plan than it is to start cutting personnel and people. We can recover from 1 year of an underfunded road. I mean, I know, we always underfund the road plan. Carl Coram would have a fit if he saw the way we were funding it, but we can recover from that easier than we can recover from laying off people or having an unsustainable workload that sounds like it's leading to more expenses in the long run. I just think that's just my opinion. I think we're just better off going for these one-time expenses than going for people.
Okay. Peter?
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So, looking at our 24 budget sheet, again, beautiful sheet, both of them. The 2024 budget sheet, our town appropriations was 25,595, right? We are at 26,450, 383 minus what we've done tonight. Am I correct so far? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Sounds right.
Okay, minus whatever we've done tonight. Tonight, we have taken off
$23,500.
23, so we're really at, yeah, we're still there. We're still at about 26,450. Again, last year, or this current year is 25,595. Default for this upcoming year is lower, as you mentioned, in terms of just appropriations, of course, at 25,490. But if we're talking about getting our appropriations down, we are talking about approximately $1 million more, right? Are we all on the same page? If we were literally trying to get to zero, we're talking about $1 million.
I'm not personally heading towards zero. I think we disagree on this, but that's where Brian's heading, that's not where I'm heading, but I'm still trying to get lower than where we are.
I mean, are we gonna, I'm just saying, like, before we start, like, the rest of our cuts, I just wanna kind of see, like, where is our consensus on this? Like, what do other people feel? I really like that people have named numbers, right? To some extent, it's a little arbitrary, because we really have to think about what actually has to be paid for, but like, does anyone else have numbers to throw out? Like,
Well, let me ask the committee, like, do you want to do a straw vote? Like,
say more.
who's willing to support the budget as is? Raise your hand.
I don't think we're ready.
I would be. I would
Okay.
support this budget as is. Obviously, if we are talking about other cuts, I would be willing to support those as well. But like this, I mean, we cut $2 million out of this budget so far. From what it came to us as on 10/31 to what it is now, it came to us at $28,451,000. We brought it to $26,450,000.
Appropriation side.
On the, that's not nothing.
Here's the rub. What likelihood do you think it would pass? And the voters would vote for it?
That wasn't the question I was asked.
Right.
All right.
But I was asking you.
I
Can I ask
mean,
a question then?
go ahead.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to get people from outside of our town to market to us about our tax rate this year then? Is the budget committee going to work together this year, or am I going to have ads from Joe Sweeney in my town next year telling me why my taxes are going to go up? When, by the way, to everyone else on this board, Joe Sweeney, the day after elections, announced how excited he was about all the stuff that passed in Salem that they're doing, okay? And the time that he spent money trying to get us to fight each other over something that we don't have control over. Okay, we don't have control over the fact that we don't have commercial stuff. Okay? We don't have control over the land. We don't have control over the fact that we're named after a guy that didn't want to live here. Mr. General Goff didn't want to live in Goffstown because he didn't think the land was good enough. Okay? Our own benefactor, or whatever you want to call him, doesn't think we're good enough. We do not have the tax revenue that other people have, and yet someone else last year was willing to spend money to come into our town to get us to fight against each other. And we were willing to accept that. That's bullshit. So this year, are we going to do that again? Or if I can get you half of that, are you going to support it, Brian? That's what I want to know.
You don't have to answer that.
Well,
I have a question.
But you can.
Yeah, Olivia, go ahead.
I guess my concern is, at what point, other than getting it to zero, would it be accepted? Kind of along what you were just saying, as far as a number goes. Because I think there's a lot of people right now working on cutting things. I think there's a lot of town employees and department heads that are concerned about their future. I think everybody at this table and most of the people in this room are either our constituents or live close by. And at what point is it enough? You know what I mean? Because everything else aside, parties aside, we need to pass a budget, and everyone is going to hurt if it goes into default again. But people also need to realize that everybody here also is experiencing the same tax increases, the same dinner table conversations, the same struggles on single income houses. Believe me, I get it. We're a single income house. We're a single vehicle house. We budget. We get it. But we also need to understand that there's a wide range of people and there's a wide range of needs, and we can't just stand here and fight with each other about it, because it's not going to work. So that wasn't a question, but that's
Brian.
so I think you guys know where I stand, and for the constituents I support, I think definitely want to get as close as possible to zero, because they're already conditioned based upon the last tax bill this past Wednesday, yesterday, that a lot of people paid. So if they see an increase come next year, regardless of the small amount or big amount, they're not going to be supporting it. So to me, I wanted to get as close as possible to zero as possible. I'd like to make a motion.
Go ahead, Brian.
Just a point of clarification, you have a motion on the floor?
No, I withdrew it.
Thank you.
All right.
Brian.
So I move to reduce, this is on page 17 of our budget report, to reduce 909031111, object 46950 reclamation from 1.6 million down to, reduce it by $450,000, put it that way.
Second.
Okay, so the motion is to reduce the reclamation line DPW from 1.6 million to 1.15 million?
Yeah, yes, by $450,000.
I seconded.
Okay, discussion on that?
I would just say, for me, if we pass this, then I will be satisfied, and I will be able to vote for this budget. I'm only speaking for myself, but I'll be done.
Jared?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know I've been facetious to always say that this is a bottom line budget. That is what the RSA say. I don't go by bottom line budget. I actually listen to the budget committee. And if you're saying reduce the line, that means they want us to reduce that line at the school board level. I don't know if it's the same at the select board level. So even though I'm facetious about, it's a bottom line budget, we can spend the money where we want, you just have to approve the main number. We listen to the budget committee. If we're saying actually reduce this number, that means we want to reduce that number, and we have to spend within that. Could we move it? Yes, we could. But again, we want to build trust. The school board, I'm sure the select board, the same thing. We want to build trust with the budget committee. I will not be voting for this, because that is the one thing I think our residents collectively say is we need to have roads. And I don't think that we can just reduce this one line to say we're good. If you want to reduce an entire department by an amount, I can understand that, but I cannot support reducing a road reclamation, especially since when we did that years ago, everybody got really upset for those people that were on the budget committee, if we remember that. So I'll be voting no on this.
Yeah, I feel the same. I was, actually, Kelly and I teamed up probably 4 years ago to fight to keep the road funding in. I'm not a big fan of removing road funding. I think it's probably like the one thing people actually are like really, really passionate about in town for services. Olivia?
I think it's important also to keep the road funding. Public Works has finally been able to get into Bernardville, which has been really neglected for a really long time. And I think that area of town specifically feels underrepresented in most situations. So I think it's important that they have safe roads too.
Any question for Derek?
Okay, Frank?
I just had a question for Jared in this point. It sounded like you'd be amenable to this motion if it cut the overall amount from the department rather than the reclamation line. Is that accurate?
I would only vote on this motion as it's being presented. I cannot say what I'd vote on for other motions that may be made in the future.
Okay. So would you be amenable to amending the motion to make it for the department rather than the reclamation line?
Potentially, if we hear other comments.
Yeah, Kelly, go ahead.
I would push back on that because then essentially you're asking the department head how to make that cut, and that's the job of this committee to do. So, I mean, like Jared said, the select board rarely makes line transfers. That's not something that we've historically done outside of the default year when we had to do that. And the department heads, they have a bottom line budget, but they all work within their budget. And if they don't, they come to us to talk about why, because obviously that's something that the board pays attention to. So I would hope that if that's your wish to just reduce Adam's budget overall, that you would put in the work to tell him where.
Or?
Just quick about the whole bottom line thing. The way I see the bottom line budget is, so say Adam, there's some kind of disaster and he has to super overspend in an area. He's fortunate that he can perhaps spend less in a different area. Like in Mass, no. Like you spend to the penny that line, or it's like questions and not okay. So it's like it's a lucky bit of safety that department heads can move things around. I think it is completely the opposite of transparent to say, oh, well, we can cut it from here and then he can do whatever, or like make him make the choice. I think if we're serious about cutting a line, we cut that line and we say, please do it there, and then we expect that follow through.
Peter?
Derek, did you get updated numbers on the revenues yet?
So the revenues that we reported on our estimated revised revenues in the fall of 2024, $7,583,430.
On the general fund.
Sorry, could you say it one more time?
7,583,430, and that's general fund only.
So that's where you're sitting at, you're thinking, is
No,
that where
that-
you think we're gonna come in at? That's where we're at?
That is the revised estimated revenues that were used to set the tax rate. We have not
Thank you.
analyzed those revenues since.
Have we ever raised revenues here as a line?
Well,
And I'm
'Cause you're an
thinking,
appropriations committee.
I understand that we have a motion on the, can we?
It's not, it's up to the governing bodies to raise revenues.
Can we ask that they really look at that? Because it would change the bottom line.
I think that we've kind of discussed this enough that I feel like Kelly and Jared are taking those back to their respective bodies, but I mean, I don't think any decisions about raising revenues are gonna help us right now. You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe next year.
Next year it will, but, and I
Well,
hope that's something.
sorry,
that
what
we
I'm
take
talking
up,
about
but-
is, but when we're budgeting revenues, right, if we're thinking about, right, instead of kind of messing with lines for different departments, when you're budgeting revenues, if we're being potentially, that's why I'm asking, right? What I'm concerned about is that we're being overly conservative on revenues and more in line on our expenses.
And I think this year we had a very big increase in bank interest. We are starting to see interest start to creep down again.
Okay.
In 2023, I think we were within $44,000 on our estimates made almost a year and a half prior. We are conservative, and if you start asking the select board to make increases to the revenues, you're playing a very dangerous game come tax season in the fall.
Set, Peter?
I would just say that, I mean, historically, they have been, they've given us just the right amount of cushion on those revenues. And I would second what Derek said. I think the worst thing that could happen is that the taxes come back much higher than we had told the voters it was gonna be. So I haven't seen I haven't seen such conservative estimates that we end up with huge amounts of money left over at the end. I think it's too risky.
Danielle?
Just to speak to that point, because I do the projections and the review with DRA, the last 3 years, when we did our revised estimated revenues with DRA, having gone 10 months into the 12-month year, the DRA advisor has said to me, it scares me how close you are, because you have no cushion if any of those revenues come in short from DRA. So we are as close as we can be, and if you look at your revenue projections for this year, we've actually upped those again, because every single time we look at it with the averaging, with the trending, to make sure that we're keeping those in line. But as far as the committee's work goes, it's an appropriations committee, and you can only set the appropriations, and then when we get to the ballot, the appropriations show on the ballot. People aren't voting on the tax effort, which may be 18 million, they're voting on the 26 million that's appropriated.
Thank you. And honestly, I'm just trying to think of anything
I
we could
know,
possibly do.
I know, we're all thinking, we're all trying to find
Motion
a
on
way.
the table, right? Yep.
I sort of forget the motion.
The motion's to reduce the reclamation line by $450,000.
And the ultimate goal of that was to, I realized that we had talked about, like, it is a bottom line budget, and then some people were like, we want to do specific in lines. I mean, I am in favor of this because I don't mind sitting up here and like nickel and diming everything down. But I also understand other people don't want to do that, and I'm comfortable with that too, so.
Richard?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just make the point that if this budget fails, the select board and the department heads are going to have to come together and make those line item transfers anyway. It's a little bit easier to do when you actually have a difference in your total appropriation versus the default budget. People like to throw out the word arbitrary. I don't think that thoughtfully coming to a number that we can all agree on is necessarily arbitrary. Might be a sweeping decision, but it's not arbitrary. We put a lot of thought into this. I really think that we should support this and move forward.
Support this motion?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Other comments before we vote? All right, so the motion is
Reduce reclamation.
what page are we?
17.
Just read it. So the motion is to reduce line 9090311146,950 from $1.6 million to $1.15 million. If you're in favor of that motion, raise your hand now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Opposed? Olivia Welch-O'Donnell, Kelly Boyer, Jared Talbot, Joe Alexander, Doug Pounds. So motion carries 10-5 to 0. Okay, I'm gonna call a 6-minute recess while Derek and Danielle get an update for us on numbers, and then we'll come back. left out there. Elizabeth's around here somewhere. Okay, so, Derek and Danielle, do you have a number for us?
We have lots of numbers for you.
Great numbers, we just
So many numbers for Dave.
Which numbers do you want?
Let's look at what the delta from default to operating is.
By my calculations, with the votes that you've taken tonight, the difference is $486,349.
All right, comments?
Do we want to do another straw poll kind of feeling of
That's a
what?
good idea.
I'm, once again, in favor of this budget. I started out.
We can raise our
Love it.
hands.
Okay, if you're in favor of the town budget, well, in favor of sending this budget to public hearing, not, you don't have to necessarily support the budget or whatever, but if you're in favor of sending this to public
Well-
hearing, again, so we can't commit on supporting a budget until we hear from the public, so that's why I'm saying, if you're in favor of sending to public hearing, there's two different questions there. Raise your hand now.
Well, do you want me to just make the motion?
No.
No, we're doing a straw poll.
Straw poll.
Okay.
Raise it.
To move
Yes?
it forward?
You're not. That's 7. Okay.
That's not enough. For the people who are opposed, can we ask why?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Laura.
thank you. I am still concerned that we haven't, the compromise hasn't happened so that everyone will move forward. And I know we can't support until we hear from the people, that's fine. But prior to hearing from the people, I'd like us to move forward with compromises so that we can all support it in that way, and I don't feel like that's gonna happen. I feel like there are members of the committee who have compromised because they've cut things they don't want to. I wanna see, I wanna hear from either people who wanna cut more or people who wanna cut more but say, okay, this is also a good compromise for me. I feel comfortable moving this forward. Like, I want the words because I still have concerns that things need to be said out loud. That's all I'll say.
So I'll start. The problem that I have, so, as of right now, it is a $500,000 delta, but we haven't added in the fire CBA, and we don't even know what that looks like yet. So I can't like commit on any of this stuff until I even know what that is. And then the select board hasn't really indicated what they're funding through the unreserved fund balance. Like, there's a bunch of things up in the air, so, hold on. I'm okay sending the bill to public hearing, but we don't know what the final number is gonna look like. And I actually think we should have a meeting after Christmas and New Year's to talk about the fire CBA, because we don't know what the number is at all. And that's, I believe, the finalized, but, that's kind of where my position is, so like, I guess, yeah, that's where I'm at. Derek, do you know?
I just wanted to clarify, the select board has voted that they are going to put forward a warrant article to put $350,000 into the fire apparatus capital reserve fund from unassigned fund balance.
That's the only one they're gonna do.
Yes.
Correct. Now, with the action, I can't speak for the board after the action this evening, but that is, or I guess Tuesday night as well, but that, we have recommended they put the fewest amount of appropriation articles on the ballot as possible. An operating budget, the sewer enterprise fund, the fire apparatus capital reserve fund, and the firefighter CBA. That has been our recommendation.
Okay, Danielle?
On the unassigned fund balance, as you know, the board has a policy, and the $350,000 that they've decided to move forward with brings them to just below that minimum threshold in order to ensure cash flow for not only our entity, but the school.
And that is
So-
before the proposed school increases and default increases in the school on next year's budget, because we'll be collecting for that. So our fund balance is always dropping percentage-wise as long as those entities that we collect for continue to grow.
Okay, Frank? And that minimum threshold is what percent?
12%.
Okay.
Of what we collect for town, school, and county, not just ours,
And state, which is
the state education.
education
So
as
by
well.
them doing the 350,000, it'll put us at 11, or them at 11.9-ish?
Elizabeth?
Can I ask a question? So I'm looking at last year's votes, and, because we had 3 CBAs last year. I don't know how these, I mean, if I'm comparing apples and oranges, the police department and the fire department, because the one coming up is the fire department, but the police, I mean, last year's police department CBA was 96,000 for last year, 132 this year. Fire department will probably come in, I would guess, somewhere in that 100,000, like right around 100,000 range.
Yeah, we can't, I mean, they're still.
Are the negotiations done?
No.
They're not, we do not
They're
have a
not done.
tentative agreement yet.
No, they can't speak to that.
Okay, all right, well then.
So,
What about others? I don't mean to put people on the spot, but we are
that's
trying to,
fine.
like,
I'll-
somebody's
I'll
gotta
go
talk
ahead.
if we're gonna get
Israel, go
somewhere.
All the people that I talk to, it's not just people that are, people I don't know, people I do know, people that just come up to me in the street. And everything I hear is, I can't do anything more than zero. And I have no grand ideas that it's gonna be at zero. But for the amount of people that I've talked to, I just wanna try to get it as close to zero as possible, that everybody's comfortable with. Because there are a lot of people. And in my eyes, even one person leaving Goffstown is not acceptable, because they can't afford it. Or because their income that doesn't change, their fixed income, can't afford to pay anything. And if I had the money, I'd pay their taxes, but I don't. I'm trying to pay mine. Like I said, I've been looking, the whole time we've been talking, I've been listening, and I've also been looking for whatever I can cut. Or I can put a motion in for. And it's all $1,000 here, $1,000 there, $5,000 here. And it's just hard. I'm just trying to do what I can.
Okay.
Richard?
I would say that even if we're not at a point where we're all comfortable supporting the budget in terms of voting for a recommendation, I would say that we've reached a point where we can actually have a public hearing that involves, some more informed debate, I guess. Having the actual numbers that we're working from in front of us is a lot better than having a budget that looks like it's going to be 12% higher, And the calculations are all very complicated. Not everyone has the time or the interest to learn those things, but at least we're now at a point where we can talk about what is left to be reduced, as opposed to starting from a point of this restructured budget that's based on having the non-union compensation plan and all the pieces that were moved around to implement the non-union compensation plan. So I think that we should move this to a public hearing, take into account everything that we hear at the public hearing, and then make a final decision. That potentially may include more cuts.
We are able to amend the budget, Danielle, after the public hearing?
Yes.
Any lines?
Yep.
It's all open, okay. Olivia?
Piggybacking off of what Richard said, that's pretty much my line of thought with moving forward. I think this budget especially has been, it's really impacted by like very real needs that the community doesn't feel like is being addressed. So I think by us having put this much energy and cut this much, that we can get their view on it and revisit it and cut more if needed.
Elizabeth?
I would just say, I'm in favor of that, and I agree. I think it is important to get some public feedback. And I think we should do it. But my one concern is that we're going to walk out of this room and the Facebook war is going to begin. And people are not going to get accurate information. They're on both sides. They're going to get all hyped up because it's going to be all about getting people to turn out to the public hearing to try and convince us to do one thing or another. And all of our efforts to kind of build consensus and work together are going to get blown out of the water. So I don't know what we do about that. I mean, other than trying to be honest and work, come to the table in good faith. But that is my concern, is that then this becomes a war between neighbor versus neighbor to who can influence the budget committee. And we're all going to be in the middle of the tug of war. So.
I agree.
I agree as well.
Jared?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Derek, what's our total proposed budget as we are? I know that you gave us the delta, but what's the proposed budget that we'd go to a public hearing with if we didn't do anything else at the moment?
25,976,883.
Thank you.
And that's a 486,000 delta over default, correct?
Yes, 486,349.
Brian?
Could I ask what the updated percentage is?
Which percentage would you like?
In regards to reductions?
So you have reduced the town budget by 8.7%. And that is, the current budget as you have it is 1.9% above default.
Okay, thank you.
What is it above the current budget?
Give us a second. Well, he's calculating that at this point in time, the estimated change to the tax bill for the median home, is where I was talking about that $414,000 house, would be about $75 for the year, grand total.
Again, only talking about for the town.
For the
Just
town.
for anyone who's listening.
Yeah, grand total
Yes.
for the
That's
town's
hard.
number for the year,
Without the CBA.
correct.
In the other articles, yeah.
So, the number above our 2024 total appropriations, and that includes the 3 CBAs that were approved, is 1.49%. So it would be 1.49% appropriation increase over 2024, with the caveat that we hope to bring forward a CBA for the Budget Committee and voters to consider.
So again, not to rub salt in anybody's wound, but you realize that's a full percentage point below what the tax cap would have been.
That's why we do that work here.
To add to those points is, for a town budget, that low of an increase is like what so many towns hope for. Like, that is lower than their goal, just to put it in perspective of like other towns.
Sorry, Laura, I didn't understand that.
Oh, so
Just
the percentage that you just mentioned over current, lots of New Hampshire towns would only hope to get to that.
Oh,
Like, so like, yay, so far so good, guys.
Oh, it'd be like that far under inflation and
Yeah.
all that.
Mhm.
Well, yeah.
So just to put it in perspective of like versus, since we've been talking about that kind of other places.
Doug?
Yeah, just a clarification question, please. Derek, the number, the revised total you said tonight, did that include the cuts we made tonight?
Yes.
Okay. And the percentage-wise, you compared to the 2024 default?
I'm comparing to the 2024 budget, which is our default budget, plus there were 3
Plus the
CBAs
CBAs. Oh, okay, all
approved.
right, gotcha, okay.
Can I make you repeat those percentages again?
Sure. So right now, you have cut 8.7% from the town budget. You have, your proposed budget would be 1.9% above 2025 default and 1.49% above the 2024 appropriation.
Allison?
We were kind of chatting during the break and mentioned the fact that, Brian keeps saying, or a couple of people have said that they're not really comfortable with anything other than a 0% increase. But isn't the kind of the whole point, if that's what you want, then you don't vote for the budget and you get the default, which is basically your 0%. And the idea behind a different number would be that we're giving an alternative that increases some, but that we've all given such thought to and changes. So getting it down to 0, we could have not spent all this time doing that, and then people could have just said no and gone to default. So it seems like am I wrong?
Kelly, go ahead.
Not wrong, but I just want to help with some perspective, because like, all of us in these seats should be thinking of things that you're willing to do with your tax money, your own money, might not be the things that you vote for, the things that you support. And just like there are people who would like for it to be 0, right? Everyone in this community is all of our constituents. And I'm going to keep saying that because I hear the people I talk to, my constituents, that's everyone. And our job at this table is to bring forth a budget where we can say, this increases this and this is why, and it's your choice if you support it. It's not to try to talk people into it. It's to provide facts and education about why the increases are the way that they are, to work on capital improvements, to maintain services that voters have voted on for this community in the past, and also to manage what kind of impact, like, we cut a lot of CIP this year. That's still things that are going to happen at some point. So we're compounding those costs, right? Having the foresight to see what kind of impact it is to not do any of these things. So I don't know how much more you can ask of the town and the department heads to try to manage outside of that. But I think that's up for you all to decide if you're at a place where it's not necessarily your personal vote on this budget. It's, is this good for the community to maintain what we have? Is this reasonable for X, Y, and Z reasons? And if it's not, then say those things here, right? But just a specific number, unless we're going to continue talking about what to cut, is kind of like we're all just giving our thoughts and opinions on where we're at.
Laura?
Thank you. Yeah, Kelly, I think that's a great point. For every person that says they can't afford anymore, there are people that would afford more and would happily increase services. And we can't forget that either.
Peter?
I think we should say it in a different, sorry to say this to you, Laura.
No,
but
that's okay.
I don't know anyone that happily, takes on additional stuff, but I do know people that rely on the services that we're talking about, right? Let's give an example where you talked about trash, right? We're like, oh man, we'll get rid of trash. I don't know about any of you, but I walked away from that, even if Adam was I don't know, 5 times off, even if it was 5 times off in terms of what those things cost, we're getting amazing bang for our buck. So this is gonna, speaking of Facebook, this is gonna get me in trouble. Sometimes when you spend public money and we work together and we do it as a government, right, and we have the government do things, it's actually more efficient. right? Our trash collection, if you go and pay someone to do your trash collection next year, you will be paying how many factors times what Adam presented to us? Again, he could be wrong, but let's say he's wrong by 5 times. How much was it? I'm sorry, Adam, if I could bring you up. A year?
Yeah.
If we get rid of curbside.
That's
That
how
would
much they'll
save us
per
$50. That
person.
means the cost to us in order to have trash collection in our house is $50. Right, so we keep on talking about this as though like, oh man, you know, people just want to spend. No, like, people use these services. I'm asking, when I asked about not having Joe Sweeney here next year, it's because I don't want to fight each other anymore. Sorry, I need water.
Yeah, thank you for restating that in a better way, because, yeah, exactly, there are people that count on and want these services. That's what it really comes down to. I shouldn't say that people want to spend more money. Nobody wants to ever spend more money on anything, but there are people who are willing to compromise, you know, spending money for services they really need and really want. So thank you for that.
Samantha, then Frank.
I just want to, I guess, make sure that I'm in this in the right mindset. The difference between the 2024 default and the 2025 default is $249,700, which, so already, the 2025 default is 0.98% higher than the 2024 default, correct? Maybe you don't know, maybe you don't have
Which
to
sheet
check that
are you
percentage.
looking at the big,
I'm looking at the big general fund town,
if that's what it says there. I think the only error that we had, as you recall, we had accidentally left one of the cruisers out of the default budget, and that was a $60,000 correction that we need to make to the 2025 default, but in round terms, yes.
okay.
So we have to add that back in.
Okay, so when we talk about getting to 0, that means cutting below what the 2025 default is. Which, to me, feels, I mean, I know I said this at the beginning, I feel like 0 is an impossible number. I feel like cutting below default is an impossible idea. But so, understanding that this percentage is technically incorrect because we don't have that extra 60,000 fixed, I mean, we're looking at a difference of a 0.98% increase, which I feel like we could just call 1, to a 1.9% increase with this budget going through. So it's 1%. That's how much we're raising it by, 1%, which is, I mean, I once again, I guess I don't see how we can go any lower.
Laura?
Thank you. And just to put it out there, this year, taxes will not be going down. That is not, right, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is not a realistic expectation for things to be a lot lower. We can do our best to not make them a lot higher, but they're not gonna get a lot lower.
Like, even if default passed.
Right.
They will still go up. It's
Right.
still 0.98% higher.
We're just doing our best to keep that going up as small as possible. That's the only thing we can do.
Frank, do you have something?
I was just gonna say, we were elected to make the tough decisions. And when you say send this to public comment to get feedback, I don't know about anybody else, but I've heard feedback all year. And, you know, when I eat breakfast, when I sit next to my neighbor, when I talk to my family, I've heard it. They're in financial pain. So, you know, these services, are they important? Yes. We're trying to look at trimming the least important or the least valuable. And people have different opinions on them. So maybe, you know, that's why we get our feathers ruffled a little bit. But I would like to see this budget come down some more. I realize we've done a lot so far, but I think there's some room. And a very large percentage of the people I talk to are not happy about the tax increase last year. They just paid their bill, and I think literally any tax increase is going to be a tough sell for them.
Peter, then Laura. Go ahead, Peter.
Which service do you want to cut?
I can think of a few.
Let's
Well,
go.
then do it.
Keep going.
Okay. How about, I think Joe mentioned it earlier, how about the income and Medicare and FICA for one library position? Okay, and speaking to the motion, we have a library that's open.
Full-time or a part-time?
A full-time. We have a library that's open 51 hours a week. We love it. But we have Danielle who works 60 hours a week herself. So how do we look at what is on the lower side of what is incredibly important? The bookkeeper, I think that's incredibly important. The way Danielle outlined all the responsibilities, the fines that were coming up, the things that were delayed, including payroll. I think that is an absolute, sounds like a dam breaking and needs to be taken care of. Having, or cutting one full-time library position, and from what I heard from the folks that said, well, in case of this, we need 2 or 3 backups, or we need a backup, in case of this. In Danielle's position, we're already behind. People aren't getting paid. So,
I just want to, I don't want misinformation to go out there. Employees are getting paid. They get paid on a Thursday.
right, you're behind on payroll.
Excuse me. Please let me finish. In the past, the bank file would go on a Tuesday, and some people would start to see that direct deposit on a Wednesday. Now those bank transfers are going on a Thursday morning, so employees aren't seeing it until Thursday evening. So people are still getting paid and have continued to get paid due to Danielle and her, and I say staff, her one other person, as well as me, because I'm the deputy treasurer, as well as the deputy health officer. They continue to get paid on the day that payroll is due. Does it have an impact on morale? Absolutely. But please don't put misinformation out there that says that town employees are not getting paid timely.
Right, that was a misspeak on my behalf, my apologies. I was just trying to echo Danielle's remarks. So that's why I would, if I was looking at a place to,
Did you make a motion?
I'm finishing my
Oh,
sentence.
okay. I didn't know if you already did.
That's why I would make a motion, and in fact, I will now make a motion to reduce the amount of salary, FICA, and Medicare for one of the library full-time positions.
You go to the page for me?
15, page 15?
15.
Yeah.
Yes, the line is.
We have to, Danielle, we have to do a specific dollar amount, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure which position you had in mind. They are paid.
Respectfully, you have all the information in front of you to make this cut. You've been provided all the salaries and wages for the entire town.
I don't know which one you had in mind.
So for a full-time position, are we looking at 5501, 40s, 41100?
Is there a second to Frank's motion? Brian Mazur seconds. Discussion on this? I think Frank said his piece. Olivia?
I think it's wildly inappropriate to compare one overworked town employee who goes above and beyond every single day to another department. Also, I thought at the start of all of this that the goal for us was to prioritize our staff. And while the public library may not be first responders, they are valued staff members of our town that are valued and go above and beyond in the same ways that other employees do. I understand it's a smaller building. I understand that some at this table feel that there's too many people in that building, but you keep cutting people down, you get more people like Danielle. Okay, Danielle should not be Danielle. Danielle should get to do the job that Danielle was hired for, not all the jobs that she's filled in since. So when you start taking away all the other employees, then you just get another situation just like that, and it does not work.
Peter?
Thank you. Frank, I asked you point blank, just, that's what I was asking for. I won't support this on its own. And despite the fact that some people might disagree with me at this table, I don't, number one, I want to go to public hearing and I want to see us all stand up and support a budget, frankly. That's what I want. That's the reason I'm pushing, and I'm pushing past my limit now, because I want us all to support. I don't want us to use this as some sort of political football. I want us to do our job and support a budget when we get there, okay? So I'm willing to go all the way, personally, okay? I'll do anything we have to do so that we're all working together to support a budget. I don't feel like everyone else is willing to do that at this table right now. That said, if I'm going to go all the way, I can't keep on asking future taxpayers to pay for the services I get to use, okay? What we're doing every time we cut out CIP items, the truth is we're just asking someone else to pay for the stuff that I get, okay? Because that stuff has to get fixed. That stuff has to be replaced. Those trucks have to come in. We're asking for someone else to pay the bill for me to live the life I want to live, okay? There might be a case where we truly can't afford to live here, okay? And that's terrible. But let's be honest, that's not just on this budget committee. There are a lot of things affecting that. I don't think we're all being honest about that right now. Now, if I'm going to cut that, if we're going to go that route, I would prefer we start naming all the services we're going to cut that's going to get us the extra $1 million before we say, yes, I'm going to cut the library. Because what if we lose steam halfway? I don't think that's right. So I think we should tally it out, say, yep, library, potentially $60,000. Keep going. Can we get to $1 million? And if we can't, we have to decide what we're going to do. And I don't think everyone wants that. I got to drink water again.
Good, Frank.
Just, I want to respond to two things.
Finish or?
I'm good.
Two things that Livia said. You said it was inappropriate to compare different employees between departments. That's what we do as a budget committee. We compare the numbers. We take a look at what the tax burden is going to be to our constituents, and we take their feedback, and we're their voice. We're the elected people. You also mentioned that we wouldn't value them. It's not that we don't value them. It's that we have to make a prudent decision on where taxpayer money is spent. I mean, tonight we heard 4 people come up and say they were being taxed out of Goffstown. You know, that's what we're balancing. This isn't about someone not valuing an employee, or it's inappropriate to compare. I think it's very appropriate to compare if there's something that is a critical value to our town and something that is nice, we enjoy it, but it's not holding the dam back. So you have to compare, in my opinion, to make any decision.
Can
Go ahead,
I
respond.
Well, I do think I should have chosen different words for the comparing of employees. I think using Danielle as an example is a very poor choice to compare against, because I think she is a huge example of exactly what we don't want to do to people.
In fact, I think it's a great choice. I think it illustrates exactly why, if we're going to pick an area, and Peter asked me point blank, and to his point, what would I do? That's what where else? Who else has a cut? Anybody?
Right, but what I'm saying is that you're choosing an employee that admittedly is doing more than one full-time position right now.
Right.
And that's what I find inappropriate about it, that we would set that standard as what our whole Goffstown doing more with less mentality is, and that's not okay.
That's not setting a standard, that's comparing.
Okay.
It's a difference.
I'm gonna let Elizabeth, Laura, and then Kelly.
So, I mean, I already said where I wanted to go, I actually went a little further than that. But consensus would be nice, unanimity would be nice, but I don't think it's a deal breaker. I don't think we have to have it. And I think Allison really nailed it by saying we have to give people a choice. Because I don't think if we present two identical numbers, I don't think we've given the voters any say in what happens. So, I mean, I'm not gonna be able to vote for this motion. I've gone as far as I'm willing to go. I think what we've done is as narrow as we can do it. And if we don't agree, we don't agree. We don't have to hate each other and demonize each other. We have honest disagreements, and it's on these numbers and these ideas, and that's where it is, and let the voters decide.
Laura?
Thank you. Back to the comparing, because yes, comparing, yes. You chose one clearly overworked employee who is doing multiple jobs, saying, look, Danielle can do multiple jobs. If we cut some from the library, some of there can do multiple jobs as well. That's what I heard anyway.
That's not what I said.
That's not what Frank said.
What is the comparison then? The comparison that Danielle's job is more important, clearly because she's doing a lot of jobs, versus somebody at the library? Because the fact that, like Olivia said, I thought we agreed that we were valuing our staff over everything. And if you do remove staff from an adequately staffed department, that is going to put more work on the other staff there. And I thought that's exactly what we don't want to do for retention, for morale, and for the good of our town. So maybe, I guess, re-explain, because I heard it differently. If you want to, you don't have to.
So you're saying you didn't understand my comments the first time?
No, Frank, that's not what I'm saying. What I heard.
That's what it sounded like.
What I heard was that you took a position.
Yeah, let's take it down.
No, he can't speak like that to me. You can't be condescending and disrespectful to me. You took a position of someone who is doing multiple jobs, and you said, look, that person is doing multiple jobs. Because there's not enough staff. If there's not enough staff at the library, the staff who are there will be having to do more than their job description, than their work. If we're worried about keeping quality employees, keeping morale within our employees, and retaining, and this goes beyond town hall and the library, this is firefighters, this is police officers, then we shouldn't be cutting someone knowing that, well, the other staff will pick up the slack. They're an adequately funded department, according to the experts, which are the people that work there in the board who govern them. Putting more on fewer people does not align with putting our town staff first.
Okay. Kelly?
All right. Debating on whether or not I really want to go on a long-winded statement here. So what I'm hearing is that we want to go lower, we want to go lower. We're at a difference of $486,349. What is the point that we're done? I'm literally asking anybody.
I'm done now. I don't want to go lower. I'm fine where I am.
Even if we were gonna target zero, we can't do that without public input. We just can't. We're at a point now where we're staring down the barrel of a budget that there's just not much more to cut without reaching that 0 point. And everything that's left is so vitally important to different groups in town that you're going to get this level of impassioned debate no matter what it is that you're targeting. The 0% target, whether or not we want to reach it, the truth is that at least we're at a point where we can have somewhat more of a healthy public debate about it. That was never going to happen with a 12% budget. The fact that that ever was proposed has already damaged the public discourse about this budget. Now we're at a point where it's 1.49%. Move that forward to a public hearing, hear from the public in their own words what they don't want to see paid for by their tax money, and then maybe we can take additional action. But right now, all we're doing is reaching a point where, as others have said, we would not be giving voters a choice at all.
I agree, and I only ask that, I know people still have difference of opinion on that, but when we get to a point where we're talking about staff, that is something that I'm very passionate about in this community, and that goes for all departments. And I would say very lightly that the library is probably the only one that's close enough to being adequately staffed. Every other department in our town is understaffed, statistically, actually, and by workload. So if we're gonna get into talking about cutting staff, I'm ready. We can have that discussion. And it's something that I'm not gonna tolerate talking about unless there's some sort of big justification. Because we've gone over the statistics, we've heard from the department heads, we know that every department, I mean, I'll say like lightly, the library, everyone is understaffed. And the amount of hats that the appropriately staffed people wear is too many, and it's unsustainable, and it's not fair to those employees. So talking about doing that in a community where we are very lucky to have departments that help each other out is only creating a burden for everybody. It costs us more money in the long run. We've talked about this in length. So I'm gonna make that statement once. We'll see what this vote goes, but just letting y'all know.
Frank?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Departments are understaffed and residents are overtaxed. That's what we're trying to balance. That's it.
Okay, do you want to move forward with this?
Yes.
Okay. All right, there's a motion and a second to reduce, I think you need a specific dollar amount.
I'll tell you what, I'll withdraw it for the moment, and I'll find a number at a later time.
Okay. Is there another motion out there?
Yes,
Kelly?
I would like to make a motion to move this budget to public hearing.
Second. Motion by Kelly, second by Laura to move the town budget to public hearing. Discussion on that? Richard?
Just reiterating, this is not your personal recommendation on the budget. This is simply to get to a point where we can actually potentially take further action with the will of the voters in mind.
Okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of moving the town, I don't need a specific dollar, right? Okay, moving the town budget to public hearing on January 14th, 2025, please raise your hand now. Those opposed? Abstentions? Pass 15-0-0.
Great job.
Jared, do you have a motion?
Sure, I'll do it.
I figured you'd want to, right?
Well, since I've, am I allowed to? Because I voted to move my budget to public hearing, and I was voted down.
I'll make it.
So it will be
We're proud of you,
Kelly.
though.
I'm gonna let Kelly make a
Are you
motion.
gonna go over your sheet first, or do you want?
Yeah, let's make the motion.
I'll make a motion to move the school budget to public hearing.
Is there a second? Second by Olivia. All right, discussion. Jared, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, I'm going to pass out something, just so that we can see some revised numbers. What's coming around to you is, I had Scott try to mimic what we could on the town side for what our default budget is, what our current budget is for this fiscal year, and what our proposed budget is. So if you're looking at this, the difference between our our default budget for next year and this year is roughly 2.44%. And the reason why we have that increase, and it's roughly a little less than $1.3 million, is because this is the collective bargaining agreements that we've all agreed to, that were voted on by the town, that are incorporated in our budget. That's why our default is pretty much that high. So 2.44% is the difference between this year and next year's default. We are we're asking for an additional $255,000 And that is roughly for IT work.
This handout is the same as the one we already had, is that the correct?
No,
handout?
you'll get there. You'll get there.
okay.
Just keep passing it down.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking at the difference between our current year and next year's proposed budget to be 2.92%. The additions to the sheet that just came down is at the very bottom, because what I think this board really looked at is what's the total tax? And that's what's not on the original sheet. So if you look below the green lines,
Yes, thank
our
you.
current school board rate, so all things being equal, for a $414,400 home, our current tax bill is $4,736 and some cents. If we pass the proposed budget, all things being equal, we're looking at $4,970.64, which is an increase of roughly $234. If we voted to not, or to move anything, or if we voted down the proposed budget and went with the default, we'd have a tax base or tax bill of $4,931.90. So I wanted to include those pieces because people really resonated around that. They wanted to know the total tax bill, all things being equal. That's what Scott added to that new list that came out.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second on the floor. Is there discussion on this? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of Kelly's motion to move, the
Who
school
seconded
dis-
Kelly's motion?
Olivia.
Okay.
To move the 2025-2026 proposed budget to public hearing on January 14th, please raise your hand now. Those opposed, abstentions, so it passes 15-0-0. Okay, so that is our work for the night. Kelly, do you have an update from the town other than what we've been talking
I
about?
gave it on Tuesday.
Great. Jared, do you have something for us?
Well, I did give the town, or sorry, the town, sorry, the budget committee kind of some happenings that were going in the school, specifically around the CRF. I don't know if anybody had any feedback on that they'd like me to bring back to the school board. I know it's been a couple days, but again, if we want to talk a little bit about that, we're asking for $400,000 in our CRF to come from the unreserved fund balance. Again, with additional language, hopefully that will be added, but that's not definite. $300,000 of that would be to the cistern. $50,000 of that would be to our IT firewall. That is a 50% grant match, so it's actually $100,000, but the school's going to pay $50,000 of it. And then $50,000 to the turf field replacement that's going to happen in roughly 10 years. So those are the three items that we're targeting with the CRF, and again, I welcome any feedback you'd like me to bring back to my board.
So what was the language change you were discussing?
We, a very smart individual asked for if we could add some language to say if this warrant article failed, that the money would be returned back to offset tax relief. We have asked the lawyers for if that would be allowed. We have not voted on it. We're not going to say that we're actually adding it. We just went to the lawyers to see if it could be added at this point.
Feedback for Jared on that? So I will say typically I haven't supported the CRF, but I don't like the $400,000. I think don't you have existing money in there still?
We have roughly $167,000.
So-
But that also includes the $50,000 we've already put towards the first, to the turf field in our first kind of payment, if you will. So if we kind of earmark that strictly for the turf, we're looking at about roughly $100,000 currently within our CRF right now. But again, we use those things to knock off CIP items.
Yeah, so with the 100,000 already in there and say you come forward with 250, that should cover what's needed for projects this year.
That would, so if I'm listening correctly, that would not allow us to add money in to replace the field that we know that's going to have to happen in 10 years.
Okay. Samantha?
I think it would be interesting to have either just the turf field or all athletic fields have their own separate CRF fund. One, so that it doesn't get muddied with like, we have so much money set aside for specifically the field, because then people think that there's more money in there. It's not really. So I think that'd be nice. I don't know if anyone else feels that way, but.
Can I respond to that one specifically? So I love the idea, but I already heard from this board, we don't like having half a dozen, 2 dozen, 5 dozen warrant articles that we have to
Right.
vote for,
And
so.
that's like where I'm torn.
Yeah, so we were told not to do that, just do the one.
Laura, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm on the other side where I think it should be separated out. I would like to see it separated out, and and I know we can't officially vote to make you do that, but I'd be curious to see what other members of the board thought as far as that separation as well.
I can bring that back if that's kind of the consensus.
Well, I think when we created the CRF years ago, we talked about making sure that it had narrow language to replace existing assets, and the turf field is an existing asset, but creating a separate one that would be able to be fixing existing athletic fields or something like that, I think is like a good one to have, so that the voters know exactly what they're voting for. I think it does what Samantha said. I think it muddies it up when we're like, oh, how much is earmarked towards the field every year? I mean, we have to explain to the budget committee every year, like, we're not always gonna be on here. We have to explain to them how much is earmarked for the turf field.
Well, we give a list every year to say, I don't know if Scott actually provided it to you.
No, I know,
Yeah.
But it basically says all the charges that we've done every year, and that's posted out on our SAU website as well.
Elizabeth, Allison,
Yeah, I mean, 2 comments. I mean, I agree with separating it out, and when you first ran through the list, I was like, $50,000, we just put the turf field in, like, we're paying I mean, I get that you have to invest in it. I don't know, when the turf field first went in, there was discussion about renting it out. Should that be a revolving fund that goes towards turf maintenance? I don't know, that's the question. But I would say I'm kind of where Joe is on this. I would be more inclined to support the cistern project than maybe the turf field this year. Maybe this is a year where we take a break on the turf field and we just, given everything else we've cut and everything else we've done, but the cistern project, it has to be done. So,
and that project ticket price is $300,000.
300,000 is what we got for the quotes.
okay.
So,
And the IT firewall, again, it's a grant-funded one, so we don't want to lose the grant.
That's true, that's true.
so $300,000 for a CRF request would accommodate both of those. Okay.
I'll bring it back to the board.
Any feedback, Olivia? Peter?
So the 50,000 earmark, that's like putting towards savings for the future, is that what we're saying?
So, yeah, so
I
last
just wanted to
year.
double check, that's what we mean.
Yeah.
Similar to like the fire apparatus fund.
It's exactly like that. So we're basically putting $50,000 every year to when we have to replace the field, which is, is going to be about $1 million.
I just wanted to double check. I know we've had that discussion about, do we want a bunch of CRFs? I'm of the mind that when it comes to large items that we know about, that it's totally fine for us to come up with specific CRFs for those. I think, I'm happy to see a lot of nodding heads, like when it's like, very specific item, we know we want, let's do that. Maybe it's not this year though, right? We've done everything we've done, and hopefully you guys can chat about that some more.
And I think Danielle indicated that other towns have a lot more CRFs than Goffstown has.
Yeah.
Depends on the town, but the trend we've seen across other towns is separated out CRFs.
You said like Bedford has like 40 or something.
And
That might
field
be a
has,
crazy
it's a philosophical, this town has not been for savings or borrowing.
For instance, we had a CRF for just Bartlett.
It's true.
Historically.
We closed the CRF for Bartlett because we
Right.
thought, why have one for one school and, things for other things? So we
Right.
kind of closed one to have the main one there that we use for our CIP items. I can tell you, I'm pretty confident that our school board does not want to have a CRF for each individual school.
Right. And I guess I like the idea of maybe, like, because there's like a tiny savings account inside the big savings account. And I think it does, like I said, it does really confuse things. I think you can make an athletic use CRF fund. I also get that I remember last year, one of the biggest complaints that I heard from so many voters is that the warrant article was way too long. And there was, like, I didn't even do the second half, you know, that back of that page, right? It was really long, right? And some of that is because, like, the planning board put like 1 million warrant articles on there too, right? And I'm being a little, you know, like hyperbolic, but like, I think that this is important, so.
Okay. I appreciate it. I'll bring it back.
Okay, Danielle?
Just wanted to double check from earlier discussion on upcoming meetings. From what I heard, you'd like to hold one more meeting before the public hearing to hear about the CBA, if we can come to an agreement on that.
Yeah, I think we owe it to.
And does that mean you're comfortable with canceling the one on the 9th that the school has requested use of the space? The 7th and the 9th are the current placeholders.
I'm comfortable with the 7th.
Canceling the
Tuesday?
9th.
Yeah, me too.
The 7th, having a meeting on the 7th. Discuss CBA and maybe a CRF update, depending on what the school board does.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that we should probably have a vote at the school board to recommend a CRF warrant article that we could bring to the board at that time.
Okay.
Can I request for that agenda too? I think we need to talk about the public hearing. I think the public hearing last year was problematic, not just because Barbara Griffith came and yelled at everybody, but there, I mean,
Wait,
this
that's
is.
normal.
Yeah, I'm very used to that.
This was a complicated budget season, and what we've done is complicated, and I think we need to do a better job of communicating to the public, and I think we should talk about how we're gonna do that effectively. So I'd like to have that added on the agenda for the 7th.
Okay. Brian?
Thank you, Chair. I get one more thing, and I've been thinking about this, and I'm inclined to present a special warrant article, but, and actually Derek helped me with this. I think it'll be prudent for our community to actually to hire a third-party efficiency audit company that comes in and looks at departments and actually will audit them, because I think, from Derek, you correct me if I'm wrong, the town has never received a third-party audit, right? It's been a self-audits.
Not during my time with the town. I've
Okay.
been an employee of the town for 20 years.
Right.
I cannot recall ever answering surveys or anything.
Okay.
It's always been on the compensation end.
Yeah, so I thought it'd be good to have it both for the town side, for all departments, as well as school. And I'm not sure if the school can comment if they had a third-party audit as well from an efficiency standpoint, but I think it'd be prudent to have that done, because then you have a third-party entity, we'll say, okay, this is how efficient our town and school are, and they know exactly where the money's going and how they can maybe consolidate things, how to operationalize things. So, I wasn't sure.
Can I just provide a little bit of guidance?
Sure.
Town and school are two separate political subdivisions, so you would need, if this was to come in by petition, it would need to be submitted both to the
Yep.
town and school. The select board have a meeting on January 6th. I assume you'd be submitting by petition, is that correct?
Well, I don't know if
Because
there's-
there are two methods by which an article gets on to the warrant. The select board, the governing body, puts it on, or it comes in by petition of voters. Those are the two options. So I think if you were going to ask either of the governing bodies to do that, then you would need to do that.
So you can go to their meeting and ask them to place that on the warrant.
Yeah, and just if I can take a step back, I was inclined to do that, but I guess if people thought this was a good idea as a budget committee meeting, could we appropriate money for those efforts? But like I said, I'm inclined to bring it to the voters, have them vote on it. I just want to bring it up, that's what I'm.
You can add it to the operating budget. But a separate article is either the governing body or a petition from voters. Those are the two methods.
Okay.
You have the authority to add the appropriation to the operating budget.
Right.
Do we have an estimate of how much that's going to cost?
So in my cursory conversations with a company out in Portsmouth that does this, the town side, they did it for Newcastle, which I think is a smaller community, and it's like $30,000. They don't have expertise.
Newcastle is a tiny community.
Yeah.
It's barely a community.
So, and he just provided me the report, the president did, so I I haven't looked into that, but they
Did you
don't
ask him
have.
if he has any other towns that are closer in size to us that he could generally quote us on?
Yeah, I can ask him. I just know they don't do the school side, so that's another piece I have to figure out. Totally different animal, so.
Peter?
I remember actually, I hope we're not belaboring this meeting, but could we add that as an agenda item potentially for next meeting, because I'm very interested in this. So on the town side, we don't have the same types of ways to compare as we do with the school, right? We've talked about that in a lot of ways, right? Because we have all those measurements. Sorry, town people, close your ears for a second. Your town department folks. I'm not trying to say you're redundant. I'm just saying we don't have those types of measurements. I was even looking at our report for the compensation and being like, could I somehow equalize this so that I can start comparing our town in terms of how well we're doing against other towns? Because I don't know, right? So I was like, could we somehow use the fact that we've actually paid for this, right, and then equalize that to compare against other towns? I do want to know how much it actually costs, and if that information has been utilized effectively by those folks, because I hate the amount of times that a report is paid for and then like you're like, hey, here's what you could do, and then it's like someone just throws it in a drawer. So I would want to know, like, hey, what towns did you do this with 5 years ago, right? And what results have you guys gotten? But frankly, I'm going to say I probably think it would only be a possible good investment on the town side. I can't see why we'd want to even spend the money on the school side when we already have so many different ways to measure that. So.
Jared?
Just as a note, we do, I know it's not what you're looking for, Brian, but we do go through financial audits every year with the school, with Plazix and Sanderson. They did just complete their review from last fiscal year. So we always bring a third party in to check our books. So that is something that we do at the school. And I'm happy to give this to anybody that would like it.
Some light Christmas reading material.
Yes.
We do as
We are
well. It's required by law.
The water precincts do it as well.
Stop trying to play against each other, guys, come on.
No, we're one big team.
He was talking about a different kind of audit,
use
though.
the
He's
same
not
audit.
playing-
Yeah,
he's talking
this is
about
an efficiency audit, and I don't claim to be an efficiency expert, but I think it'd be prudent. I understand the financial audits that's in place, but this would be a different animal. So, I just want to put it out there because I think it'd be good for the citizen body to look into and get those data points, so.
Frank?
I think it would be money well spent, and I think it would go a long way towards us as a committee recommending the budget, saying even if we're at a percentage that's higher than some people would like, we could say, but we've looked into hiring efficiency experts and really making sure we're lean for next year. So it might be a little bit of goodwill in addition to, getting the efficiencies taken care of.
I think it's a creative way to help sell the budget to voters. That we're at 1.49%, we hired an efficiency audit, and we'll get back to you. Vote for the budget.
Put it on the record.
You said we had to actually talk about.
Joseph.
Look at, he just did the whole thing, the whole presentation's right there.
Yeah.
$0 spent.
Okay, any other comments? Go ahead, Brian.
I have to bring another one up. And this is probably appropriate for next year.
Okay.
And when we vote on our rules. But I think it'd be prudent for, just like a town administrator and our finance director, where they're supporting us, but they're not part of our committee. I think we need to separate the school out, just like the town is. So have them not be part of our committee when we actually deliberate, because I think it was a little disruptive during some of our conversations. So I think we want to change our rules so they actually are separate in a support fashion come next year.
Okay.
Unless, I'm not sure if anyone else thinks.
Who are you talking about?
No,
I'm not sure.
I think when we call on them for questions and support.
During
Yeah,
meetings.
but, again, I could be totally off base, but they are not elected officials, they're here for support, and there's been times where there's been give and take where they're responding without being asked a question. So, to me.
Okay. Elizabeth?
I'm not sure I agree, I'm not gonna disagree or agree with you, but my only caution is, I have been on a budget committee many years ago where, once the deliberations started, no comment from anyone else was allowed. And the budget committee would be making these statements about things, and department heads would be losing their minds in the audience because they knew that the information was incorrect, and they couldn't give that, they couldn't share it with the committee. And it was very frustrating as a budget committee member. So, I mean, I see your point. I'm not sure I agree with it, but let's just not take it too far the other way.
No, and I appreciate that. I think that's where, like, there's a give and take between Frank and Derek when there was some information that was incorrect, and that was kind of that dynamic. So I think that would be appropriate for the school to be there to, field those questions. So just the dynamics should be a little different, because they were commingled with us, and in my opinion, they shouldn't be. They should be separate and yet be able to answer questions that may be totally off base or inaccurate.
Okay, Laura and Peter.
Thank you. I'm not exactly sure what you mean, but I wonder if it's just a matter of making sure everyone's recognized before they speak. Is that what you mean? I can't picture the scenario that you're talking about, but I'm wondering if it's just a matter of like a recognizing thing and making sure, because we do get into conversation.
I do
which
my
think
best
is
to let
good.
conversations continue before we veer off to another subject.
Right, but if that's causing
Yeah.
some kind of rift, we can just be more clear about
Yeah.
recognition.
Yeah, I remember, I guess he is a rep now, right? Henry Geisen?
Yes.
He is. He came up to me last time, and he was like, oh, man, you're getting interrupted a lot. I told him point blank, I was like, I didn't notice it. But I guess you're also talking about like seating position too, right? Technically, we always have town
Correct.
folks,
Town
the town folks. Anyway.
The folk are here.
Yeah, the folk are here that we pay to be here. Apparently not enough at all. But, okay. Anyway, they're over there as opposed to our school folks are right here with us. Not Jared as the rep,
Correct.
but we're talking about our superintendent, our director of finance.
The
Okay.
chair can just say that, though.
Huh?
Like, the chair can just say.
Yeah, I don't know how we,
Yeah, we can, I mean, if that was,
like, we just are gonna kick them out of the pool table.
yeah, I mean, whoever the chair is next year, just bring it up. I don't think it needs to be a formal rule or
Okay.
anything.
It's just, I'm not saying that it shouldn't be collaborative and supportive. It's just, I think it's, I want continuity, put it that way. So.
Okay, Olivia?
I think if people feel like they're being interrupted, we're kind of all grown-ups and could say, I feel like we're being interrupted, like, let's make sure we're taking turns, you know what I mean? Because it is important that there's that level of respect, that people get to finish their constructive discussion, but I don't know that it needs to go much beyond that.
Okay,
That's all.
so, all right, great. So, for next meetings, we have one January 7th at 6 o'clock. Is there anyone here for public comment? Come on up, Jack.
I was going to interrupt you and make that point. We were just talking.
Jack Carbonell, 35 Shirley Park Road, Goffstown. Think we did good work. You guys did good work. You put a budget that is different than the default budget and allows the voters to have some input into it, how they decide. It's already out on Facebook. I would be in support of the budgets. I might even been in support of a good part of the original budget, because I do believe in this town. And I do believe that the boards and the administrators and the department heads do their best to keep our expenditures low. If an efficiency commission is the way we want to go, to find out to check on the people that we hire, the experts that are educated in their fields, to put this stuff together, that could be a choice. It will cost us money. But I would want an agreement that if that efficiency expert came through and said, you're deficient in bookkeeping, you're deficient in IT, you're deficient in DPW staff, you're deficient in teachers, then this board would all immediately be behind meeting those efficiencies standards, right, in funding that. Right? It's not just a one-way thing. You assume that the efficiency experts are gonna say, oh, you're bloated, because that's the words that people wanna put out there. Right? But I will repeat, we are taxed lower than the majority of the country in overall tax burden at a local level. It is because of the regressive nature of property tax that doesn't allow people on fixed incomes to avoid expending if they're gonna live in this town. The solution for that is to get off the property tax model. It's pretty clear, you've debated it, right? The chair has stated it, right? Who can do that? The people we send to the state. So you gotta look for those people that you send to the state to be looking to change that. To say, I'm willing to raise the rooms and meals tax 1% so we can better fund education in our road projects. I'm willing to raise the state gas tax by 5 cents so that we can fund the road. I'm willing to legalize cannabis so we can bring a new stream of revenue in. I'm willing to use the lottery to fund education the way it was meant to, instead of it being 3%. But until you do that, property taxes are gonna keep going up unless you seriously cut services from the school and the town. Right? That's just a matter of fact. Doesn't matter efficiency or not. It will go up. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Other public comment? Come on up, Tim. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Tim Searles, Terrell Hill Road. I think the conversation that you had tonight was great. I think there was a lot of thought put into it. I am satisfied. I'm not completely satisfied, but I think you guys put some fair thought into this. I think there's still a ways to go. As for what was just said, we're in the immediate future right now. I think you guys are on the right track. Please keep at it. That's all I have to say.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
That was so nice. Other comments? Wanna-
Melanie Renfrew Hebert, 23 College Road. Pardon my voice, please. I wanted to say thank you as well. I've been a part of this committee before, and these are not very straightforward conversations that you have to have, and they are hard decisions. And I really appreciate the effort that you guys put into coming up with strategies to help lower the tax burden in the future for our community. I am slightly concerned about the impact of tax cuts, overt tax cuts, on some of our poorer residents or with less means in our community, and how that will affect them, particularly in which direction the town may have to take those cuts, and which populations they'll affect. Specifically, I'm talking about low income, I'm talking about individuals with disabilities, I'm talking about our education, and how we will administer special education to our students. Those things concern me greatly, as well as my own property taxes. So we're all kind of fighting the same fight here, but I think we have some different objectives. I heard quite a few today that make me particularly nervous. And I'll be keeping a close eye on it. But I do thank you guys for having the conversation and being in touch with the community and letting the community know what you're working on. So thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Other comments? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close public comment and entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Elizabeth, second by Brian. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, abstentions? We're adjourned at 15:00 at 9:17.
See you next